All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Killer Main podcast. This was a file that was corrupted a long, long time ago. This was supposed to come out like 2 months ago, I think it was. To fix it, I decided to play the file on stream and just pull the screen cap from there. As a result of that, you might hear some of the audio messing up, and there might be some blurs of no audio going off, and the gameplay might be a little off if you're watching it, which I know most of you don't, but still. In any case, I tried to edit it down as best I could and put this intro here. As always, Tats stuff is going to be below. Don't forget about that. And I hope you all enjoy this one. And we're going to try to do this for a few others. If you want to catch those, the stream link is below. I'm going to try to do it every Friday. I think I have about 4 more of these that are preloaded that I need to put out there. In any case, I love y'all. Enjoy the podcast and bye. The Killer Main podcast. Today's episode is going to be on Legion, and we have a really special guest today. If they would like to introduce themselves.
I am Tat, also known as Tateria, and I am an 8,000 hour Legion main who's been playing Dead by Daylight since 2018.
Say 8,000 hours?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Is that all Legion, or is that just overall?
Oh, God, no. Absolutely not. I don't know what I would do with myself if I spent 8,000 hours on Legion alone. That'd be rough.
So 8,000 hours, and you say since 2018.
Yeah, very end of 2018. I started playing basically right after Legion came into the game.
So, is Legion the reason you started playing, or was it just convenient?
Kind of actually, yeah. I saw the Game Awards trailer back in 2018. I think it was November probably for Darkness Among Us, and that reminded me of the game because one of my classmates was telling me about it, and so later in December I bought the game and I played and became very addicted very quickly and bought a bunch of DLCs. So
Yeah, you saw the that trailer, the false advertising trailer.
the allegedly imposter Among Us.
I would love to have been in the meeting for when they were setting that trailer up, because like I know everyone like has their thoughts on like if Legion was gonna be like an imposter killer, and like it got switched halfway through, which I don't think was what happens, because it, I don't know how people know if people understand that it takes like months to change a power like that, or even make a power like that. But
Yeah, the killer design process takes anywhere from 6 to 1 year, like 6 months to a year.
yeah, they didn't change it last minute, and if they did, we would have seen a killer like that by now. We still haven't.
Yeah,
So
there was even a behind the scenes live stream they did back in the day, and they said basically from day one they wanted a psychopath who could either stab the same survivor multiple times or stab a bunch of different survivors. So
mm,
then they experimented with like all pallet vault and, oh, what if you could hide in lockers and crouch, and they scrapped those ideas
I
and
see.
repurposed those into other powers. But yeah, Legion was always meant to be this edgy kid with a knife, basically.
Which brings us into the next question, and the one I'm sure you get a lot. But why Legion?
Hmm. I don't know, man. I don't know.
You don't know.
It's. I mean, I played the. I've played all versions of Legion. The version we have of Legion now is definitely the most fun
Mm-hmm.
and fair, but I think probably it's just being able to hit people really quickly,
Mm-hmm.
deal a lots of damage, and their power is very fluid. You have full control over their movement. It's not like Oni where you're restricted in how far you can turn.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing really clunky feeling about them. There's nothing awkward. They feel very fluid. You can vault stuff. You can hit people quickly. Their cooldowns feel nice. Islands are good. Lots of variety.
Fair point.
Yeah.
I've gone on record saying this on my YouTube channel when I'm streaming, because people often ask me, because I bring up like design philosophies in games a lot, and
Mhm.
I did a video on like who the best design killer in the game is and all that stuff. People ask me all the time who I think the worst design killer is. And I need to preface this by saying nothing against you or any Legion players, but I have said multiple times, and I don't hate Legion, but I do think Legion is the worst design killer in the game.
I think Legion did not quite stick the landing,
Well,
is a way to put it. Even after their recent rework, there's aspects of their ability that feel very strange. Like, why is it that only after the fourth hit you get to finally move at 6 meters per second, but that doesn't matter because you're going to hit that last person you hit anyway, so that speed bonus doesn't quite make sense.
mm-hmm.
There's some weird things here and there. You know, as a survivor, mending's not exactly the most interactive thing in the world,
Yeah,
but
I think the reason I claim that they're the worst designed is because the power is like obviously there's a skill ceiling to every killer. Like it's not as simple as I'm about to make it, but in essence, the power is just I go fast, I hit survivor, I injure survivor, they get deep wound, I go find another survivor, and
yeah.
you do that on repeat. There's no like real there's no real like once everyone's injured, like you don't like you can still go for the deep wounds and whatever, but like ideally you try to avoid it. Um, because you just want to be an M1 Andy at that point and just kind of down them. So their power seems I don't want to say limiting because it doesn't really have too much of a purpose once they're all injured. And to me, that's why I say they're badly designed. Um,
Yeah, no, I would say I partially agree with that because there's diminishing returns at
mhm,
that point to where, yeah, like the slowdown can be nice and sometimes you can snowball with the down and frenzy, but I mean most of the time you're an M1 killer, which is fine.
yeah, yeah,
Um like Legion's a killer I recommend a lot for new players.
hmm
I get a lot of, newbies in my chat and I mark my stream as noob friendly. So I get a lot of questions, but I would say like Wraith and Legion are probably the best for new players because they teach you how to actually play the game.
hmm
Because there's fundamentals that you learn. If you, let's say, play Huntress, you're not really learning how to mind game. You're just learning how to ready a hatchet when they're vaulting, and then you hit them. So if you learn Legion and Wraith, you're learning how to mind game. You're learning how to deal with loops as an M1 killer with basically no power. So
yeah.
it's, I'd
Well,
say it's probably the best for beginners there.
yeah, and like also, I mean, there's the info aspect, I suppose. Like if you really can't find everybody, like you could M2 one person and try to figure out where everyone else is, even if they're all injured. And then as far as new players go, like Legion is a character I play a lot when I'm like I don't want to think.
Oh, 1,000,000%. I mean, that's partially why I play them so much, but it's like you can just blast music and just do your own thing and you'll eventually down people, but it's like you're not there to necessarily win. You're there to
Yeah,
have a good time.
yeah. They're very like once again, I because I've had Wraith main on. Like I get it. There is a skill ceiling, obviously. But there's little tricks and things and all this stuff, and this is true. But at the end of the day, for the average player, someone who's just playing Legion randomly, just stab people and then find people and hit people.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean on the topic of, their skill ceiling, I feel like it's safe to say most of the DBD player base prefers the quote unquote micro skill expression where
Yeah.
it's like, oh, you can do stuff in chase.
Mhm.
Legion's a very macro heavy killer. So they care a lot about game sense and how you can juggle multiple things. So that's really where their quote unquote skill expression
Mhm.
lies. It's
And
just basically if you can juggle objectives and survivors and stuff.
yeah, and that's I've talked about before how it's I enjoy the macro, but it's a very hard thing to it's a very hard thing to show um because it's like often you're thinking like a couple moves ahead and you can't like if you post like a 5 minute clip of like how something works, people aren't gonna really watch it. They at the end of the day they want to see Wesker do like a 360 uh like a 362 part bound where they go through a window and cause the cooldown to go like really fast and then hit someone against a wall that wasn't there. Um,
Yeah, and I mean, like, how many times have you heard people suggest like a 1v1 game mode?
oh God.
You know, people just want to be chased, and I mean, as a survivor, that's the most fun thing is when the killer wants to chase you. I love being tunneled for that reason, is because I don't have to do gens. Like, it just beat their ass in the quote retweets, so it's great.
Yeah, I think the whole like the generators are really just there to kind of like pace the game out. Um, I mean, it's also there to give right because I've always had this idea: what if they just made a game mode where there wasn't any generators and only one person could escape?
Oh God,
Like it's like people like the chase. Let's just make the whole game the chase.
that would probably work because a lot of survivors don't like to play the game as a team-based game. They like to
mhm.
play it as like a 1v1.
It would be frustrating as hell for any killer without info though, because
Oh, one
I
million
can
percent.
promise you at least one of those people in that lobby would just be hiding the whole time.
Literally everyone would have distortion, calm spirit, iron will, and urban evasion.
um but yeah, so the big question with Legion, and I once again I know this is a question you probably get asked a lot. Uh Changes to Legion. This includes buffs, nerfs, add-ons, perks, was it Mad Grit, Discordance, and fuck is the other one?
uh, Iron Maiden,
Iron
the
Maiden. Iron Maiden. God,
Huntress's wet dream.
why is that a Legion perk? Okay. Anyways,
No idea, man.
um, like it doesn't have it. Like, I guess because it's a rock song. I guess or not a
It's
rock
edgy.
song. Yeah, guess yeah, it's edgy. There you go. Or
It's edgy.
Discordance. I don't even. Hang on. I'm doing something. I should have done this a long time ago. Discord.
Discordance works quite well with their power, considering what it does and what it's giving you. But Mad Grit, I feel like Mad Grit was a reference to, at the time, their ability to miss in Frenzy.
Mm.
Iron Maiden, I don't know what they were cooking for that.
I I just
I
meant as
don't
far
know.
as the name because I wasn't even sure what discordance actually meant. It means chaos, by the way.
Oh,
So
okay.
so
You know
that,
what,
so,
that's fitting.
so never mind. That makes sense. Um, uh, but yeah, any changes, and I'm gonna ask you the most ridiculous change, but I actually already know the answer to this that you've ever heard. Um, but yeah, is there any like major changes you would do to Legion right now? I know you said they're like in the best spot they've been, but
Yeah. I mean, I have a massive post on the forums that I keep up to date and maintain. I'll send the link if
okay.
you can read on your own time. But
Mhm. I'll have
I
that
mean,
below, by the way.
some very straightforward things would just be pools of blood and feral frenzy because it's stupid that you can't see that.
Sorry.
I hold a grudge. It's been 5 years.
No,
They've removed that, and it's like the dumbest nerf they've ever made to the killer.
I
Um,
know, but just so you know how big your influence is with that, I have random people come into my chat sometimes and mention that.
it's so funny.
It's everyone's like Tat said Legion should be able to see blood. What do you think? It's sure. I don't understand why it would be a problem. Sure, like
Every now and then I have someone who's like, but you don't need blood, you have killer instinct. It's like, exactly. So why is it hidden? You're proving my point.
it's such a strange
I'm
like
going insane, cat.
it,
Oh my
it's
god.
such a strange like why thing. Like I just like would it technically be a buff? Yes. Would it really matter? No, not really, but it'd be
Not at all.
nice. It's
It's it's a bit of a meme at this point, I
uh-huh.
think. But I'd still like to see it. That and Frank's mixtape base kit. I want the power to pause when you're kicking shit in frenzy, whenever you're breaking a wall or a gen or you're stuffing a totem, the power should pause. You could just leave the add-on as is, just stay as action speed because it's fun, but give them a little more utility with their power. Um, and then I think the last thing that would be really, really nice would just be a score event when they down someone in frenzy because it makes no sense they don't
Wait, they don't have
get
that?
that. No, no, they don't. It just stops their power.
I thought oh no, they don't. I just run pill all the
No.
time. You're gonna hate me when I say this. I just run pills all the time. You get one for that. Never mind.
Yeah, you get the caffeinated combo score for pills. But yeah, the base kit doesn't have a blood point score event when you actually get to down somebody. So that's a little strange. And then there's some other things that they could do, but I think that those three would be a decent step in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
And then anything else they can do is just kind of, it would be nice. It's not like, oh, this should definitely happen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna care more about making Legion just feel better to play rather than just inherently buffing them. There's
Mhm.
definitely buffs you could give them, but it's a little dangerous because their power is really easy to use. So
Um, and as far as reworks, I mean, technically they got it's been what 2 years now, something like
it
that.
has been 2 years, yeah.
Yeah, it's been 2 years since they got the quote rework. Which I've said this a lot. I don't know what behavior's ID definition of rework is, but it was more like an update than a rework in my mind. But whatever. Um, because the power is still fundamentally the same. They just kind of did some quality of life changes and then added the fourth down hit, which is still one of the greatest things they did in this game, in my opinion, because it's.
It it ties the whole power together because like it was cool to get 20 hits in frenzy, but it didn't do anything.
Mhm.
And after you did that, you got hit with a 4 second stun, and so getting a stack and speed bonus and then being able to down somebody just that just feels so nice and it ties everything together.
Well, it also because there's a like I mean, how many times has someone mended in your face? Not mended in your face, but like mended, but didn't wait for you to get out of power, and you ended up getting a fourth hit from it.
A lot of the time that happened early on. It still
Mm-hmm.
occasionally happens, but definitely like there was like a 2 week window
Mm-hmm.
after Legion got reworked where they felt like probably like one of the best killers in the game because everybody kept mending and you could just get downs left and right. I think I did like a frenzy down off of just two survivors unironically
Mm-hmm.
because they kept mending and I was able to just ping pong between the two.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
like
my point with that is though is that like now it's not just Legion hits you, they run away, you should start mending immediately. Like you have a little bit more thought as the person who just got hit, right?
oh yeah. Yeah,
Um.
no, I know what you mean. Yeah, like strategy and there's other things you could do, like if you're in deep wound, you can body block for someone who doesn't have deep wound.
Mm-hmm.
That's oh, if you want to piss me off, you do that when I'm about to get it down. Oh my god,
And then
that's so painful.
some of the add-on changes they did where the status effect ones that only like I'm trying to think of exactly like there's the broken one where if you mend yourself it happens, but if someone mends you it doesn't. Um,
Yeah, so it encourages people to group up, which then inherently helps you more.
yeah. Uh, yeah. Once again, I think the Legion. Once again, I don't like calling it a rework because it wasn't really one in my mind. But the Legion rework, I think, was one of the best things they've done for the game in a very long time. It's not perfect. At the end of the day, Legion's still an M1 killer, 115. But they do their job well enough that I think it's fine. Um, and once again, I actually know the answer to this question, but what is the most ridiculous change you have had someone present to you?
Anything that involves AI, making them a like an imposter killer, multi-member, anything like that ruins Legion
um,
immediately.
yeah, I mean, I know people have probably brought this up when it happened, but Knight should have just been Legion.
Fuck no, God.
Oh,
Nobody likes playing against Knight, and people are insisting that, oh no, it'd be so good because you would have. No, it would be awful.
people
It'd be
people
so bad.
people don't like playing against Legion. Like,
Yeah.
so if you combine two killers no one likes playing against together, it really doesn't work.
It's a horrible idea in so many ways.
Now, the one change I would do, that would involve that, and I think would be fine because it literally affects nothing. I would love to see the other members incorporated into the Mori somehow.
Oh
Um,
yeah, that I'm fine with that.
now with the Naughty Bear skin, we have seen that they can add new Moris to the game, for individual killers. They're tied to skins, as far as we know, and honestly, I would still be cool with that. Like, if there was like a Legion skin specifically that like made the other members like come in during the Mori, I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, and we've seen multiple characters be used in Moris before, like
Hmm.
with twins and with Knight.
Yeah.
There's multiple characters involved, so it's something that I think would be cool. I definitely wouldn't want it to be updated for like their base Mori. I think that's just perfect in its own way. But if there was a different Mori
Hmm.
that's unlocked or you can buy it, then
Yeah.
I think that's perfectly fine.
I think like I've said before, like their base Mori, like as much as I want like the other members in, I think their base Mori is one of the better ones in the game, actually. Um,
It's very grounded.
yeah, and I like
They're
the
sloppy.
yeah, I think it's the only Mori. I correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's the only Mori where the survivor kind of fights back.
Oh, Wesker with the
Oh, right,
punch.
they punch them. Okay, never mind. Okay,
Yeah,
fuck. Uh, yeah. So like,
I hate that I knew that.
yeah.
God, I get to go outside.
I always forget about West Coast for some reason. I don't see it often enough. I see Legions all the time actually, which is weird. They're like very ironically like Ghostface. A lot of people bring Moris on them or Devour Hope. I see Devour Hope on Legion all the time. Um, which I'm sure I don't know. Like I can understand the thought process, but maybe it literally is just Legion's Mori's cool, so I bring Moris. Um,
I think that's probably it. Because why are you bringing exposed on
on a
a killer like where everyone's injured? That's like haunted ground on play. It's a complete man. That makes no sense.
um yeah, like I don't know, and that's the other thing. We'll get in a bit to this with the adaptation and like how their lore is, but do you subscribe to the idea that Legion was basically Behavior's version of Ghostface?
No,
No, you don't like that idea.
no, no. They definitely had Ghostface in the pipeline
Well, no,
at the same time as Legion.
I meant like the idea of like juvenile delinquents.
Mm, no, I mean like Ghostface feels different even in the movies compared to what Legion is. Legion is just straight up a psychopathic, edgy guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like Ghostface is a more methodical, thought out, planning kind of killer. Legion is just like, I see you, I'm gonna fucking stab you.
Okay,
Like,
fair
like
enough.
that's like some like gangster kind of,
Mm-hmm. Early
you
early
know,
early
rough
90s.
neighborhood
Yeah,
kind of greaser kind of.
yeah.
Yeah,
Early,
I
early
feel like it reminds me sort of like oh, I forget the name of the movie, but there's a movie basically where there's just a bunch of greasers. Um, but I feel like Legion is the idea of that, but in gameplay form. But
yeah.
they're
Yeah,
yeah,
they're like the intrusive thoughts of the 90s brought to life.
yeah,
um uh which I mean it is shown a little bit with Jeff, who basically works at a not a blockbuster but a blockbuster. I am actually surprised Behavior couldn't get the licensing name for Blockbuster. I'm pretty sure I don't even know who owns the copyright at this point, but I'm pretty sure they could have got it if they wanted to. Um
I don't even read lore.
Well, fair point, but we know because with the skin and stuff, and from Jeff's lore, we just know he worked at like a video store, a video rental store, and
Oh yeah,
it's
okay.
it's a video rental store in like the mid to late 90s. It was fucking Blockbuster. We all know it was, but like, trademark and all that stuff. I just find it funny because I feel like Behavior, if they really wanted to, could have gotten a Blockbuster skin, and everyone would have bought it. It would have been great. Um, but yeah, like the idea of adding AI, like I get why people want it, like from a theme perspective, but I think Legion, like the idea of like a psychopathic teenager hopped up on uh happy powder and mixtapes and fucking heavy metal music that just goes around stabbing people. I think it works too. I think that they did a fine job with that as far as like bringing it all together.
Yeah,
Um,
and I mean like I feel most of the people who want Legion to be an AI killer
mhm.
don't even play Legion. They're just upset that Legion's not the character that they wanted. Sort of like how like I don't like the unknown, and I
Mm.
wish they were like a cryptid or something, and not just a guy with an axe and a rocket launcher. But like the killer's not for me, so I move on with my life. It's like okay,
Yeah,
oh well.
yeah,
There's still 30 something killers in the game that I can play, so
yeah. Almost 40 now. I think we're at like 37 now.
they
Are
should
we?
slow down.
Yeah. It's slow.
They should probably start releasing just 2 killers, 2 survivors per year
I
and
um
focus more on game health.
I am I blame League of Legends. Uh, I blame League for everything wrong with like character games like this. Because League adds like a new, like they don't have like a set time, but they add a new character like every like 3 months minimum. Um, and it's just how they are. But it's also Riot, one of the most popular games in the world with like one of the biggest game development teams. Because they also do patches every 2 weeks, which is unheard of for a game like Dead by Daylight. We get one every month and a half maybe.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, and those are the major updates. That's not even counting like hot fixes.
mhm.
Hot fixes we get, like every other week, but those
uh,
are small.
because like Overwatch, it's like every 3 months too. It's just how every game works. It unfortunately now. Siege, I do give credit to Siege because Siege used to there's a Rainbow Six Siege. They used to they would release they would release an attacker and a defender every 3 months. And I want to say like 3 years ago, they said, okay, we're only releasing one now. And everyone lost their minds and thought the game was gonna die after that. It's in the best spot it's ever been. They've ever since then they've been able to do more map reworks and more balance changes and change some of the fundamentals of the game more often. I really do think in the long run it works just fine. I've said for a while I think how they should start releasing stuff in this game is we get the killer at the beginning of the chapter and then we get the survivor during the middle.
So you drip feed the content. I like that.
One, I think drip feeding like I mean drip feeding, like people say it like it's a dirty word, but it's like one, it means it gives them more time to properly make things so they're not like rushing both out the door. Because how many survivors come out with perks that either A get changed completely or B are like absolutely useless because they didn't have time to like fix them. Killer powers, it's the same thing. Add-ons. I mean, we're still it's still early days for unknown, but like most of their add-ons are just absolute garbage. That no one is ever gonna use, and I seriously doubt they're gonna change anything with it for like until the next chapter. Um,
Yeah, and I mean it also depends on. Well, I mean, oh god, like I still remember both Hillbilly and Trickster with their add-on reworks, and they have so many repeat add-ons, and it's like, why would you ever use any of like Hillbilly's heat dissipation add-ons when you
mm,
could just tap your rev button for half a second? He has like 4 or 5 completely redundant add-ons.
mhm.
Trickster has at least 4 that are just, why would I ever use this?
Yeah, and then like Pyramid Head,
Oh, don't. Yeah,
who I
he's.
will
Oh.
not shut up about with his add-ons. Credit to Behavior. I don't know why they didn't mention this, but he did get a new one.
Yeah.
In the last PTB, which is actually decent. And I will not shut up about why all of his add-ons are bad. It's not even that the add-ons themselves are bad. It's just that they focus on the wrong part of his power.
They focus on the part of the power he has no control over.
Yeah, yeah,
So it just always doesn't feel like it does anything.
yeah. It's one of those cases. It's like Unknown has an add-on. Uh, God, what is it called? It's something eyeball. Basically, it's a brown. And before someone says, "Oh, it's a brown," it should be bad. Yes, kind of, but not really. But two, so the way it works is it gives the survivors deep wound if they dispel one of the clones, but only if they are injured and weakened.
Oh, it only works if you're weakened. Oh, I thought that worked. if you were just injured. That's too restrictive. That should
Why?
definitely be changed.
Yeah, why does it have 3 prerequisites? Like, I don't understand. Like, it's so strange. Um, like Chucky has like a bunch of bad add-ons too. Like, there's ones that literally don't even do anything because I've tested them. There's like one that like it lowers the miss cooldown of slice and dice by like I think it's 2%. I've done the math and like testing with it. You'll catch up to the survivor 0.002 seconds faster if you miss.
Worthless.
It's absolutely worthless. Oh
That's like the liquor tongue for Nemesis, where it
yeah,
extends the hindered.
yeah. Horser has been on here. He's a Nemi main. He's done the math. I think it's like it saves you a grand total of like I think it's 20 seconds at the end of the match if like the survivors run in a straight line. Um, which once again you could argue, oh, that adds up. Kind of, not really. Also, fun thing about liquor tongue that I think people forget, it only works on the first hit.
Yes.
So if
It's
they're
when you contaminate them.
yeah, so if they're already like contaminated and you get an injury, it doesn't even hinder them. it's it's so dumb. It's so dumb. Um, Nemi also has some bad add-ons. Legion's add-ons are fine. Like I don't think there's any in there I would call like bad.
He has some underwhelming ones, but they're not like compared to the other killers, it's not a priority to change them.
Yeah,
I would definitely change a couple of them, but not anytime soon.
and Legion also has, in my opinion, the most interesting add-on in the entire game, which is BFFs. Um,
Yeah, we need more tokens, more
we
token add-ons.
yeah,
Missed opportunity.
it really like it's so strange because they came out with that, and I was like, oh, cool, we're gonna get like a new kind of add-on now. And then it's been 2 years and we haven't seen anything.
They
Like,
should they should give one to Freddy where each person that's asleep gives you a token and
mhm.
each token gives you an action bonus. So it's like fire up but for people who are sleeping. They could
does
probably do that for swing chains.
does Freddy have a score events when he hits someone after they drop a fake pallet? I don't remember.
I don't think he has that in particular, but he has a score event when people do drop pallets.
Okay.
So I think it's Dream Pallet triggered and then Dream Snare triggered.
Yeah, I
Very
would.
generic, but
I
he has
mean,
those.
they could do one where like if he gets a hit, like within like a certain amount of time of a dream pallet being dropped or something. Um, I think the problem with it would be then like what do you add? Like, is it just a movement speed buff for every killer? No, it doesn't have to be that. There's a lot of other interesting things you could do. Um, like for Freddy, like let's say it's like I don't know, 10 of what I just said, which would still be really it would take forever. Um, and it wouldn't be like reliable and you couldn't really do it all the time. But let's say after like 10, you can like instantly teleport instead of having to charge it or something like that. Uh,
Yeah, or like the speed repeatedly gets faster and faster.
mhm. uh, or like for Pyramid Head, like you could like extend the range, like make it like I said, like for some of them, it would be a little difficult to like integrate like how a token would work. For Pyramid Head, my idea would be if he hits more than one person with his M2, because that's something that wouldn't happen often. But I would love one where like if he does that, like it extends the range, like it gives him a token, but it makes the range longer. So like throughout the match, if you end up hitting 2 people at the same time, your M2 is constantly getting like the range buff. It
They
would
could
have.
probably also do like you get basically a stackable cooldown bonus
Mhm.
for each hit. Sort of like save the best for last, but if you miss, it goes away. So like if you get a hit with your punishment of the damned, it's like a stackable 5% up
Mm.
to like 20. But if you miss, then it gets reset.
I like that because that would reward people for not zoning. It would reward the good pyramid heads because they'd actually go for the M2s.
Yeah, and they wouldn't just hold it out the whole time.
It just runs to Biffle. I definitely don't do that ever. Um, yeah, because like I don't know, like or like another cool one you could do with Pyramid Head is based on how many people are tormented, like you get a buff. Um,
Oh, that
I
could be cool.
well, I like that because that would mean that like because right now the usual play is hook them on the first one, cage them on the second one, and then depending, but depending either mori them outright on the third one or just hook them if they're not tormented. That would give you a reason to just like keep them tormented throughout the match because there's no way for them to get rid of it if you just keep everybody tormented.
And you don't cage them.
Yeah. And it would lead to like situations where like you kind of had to think about it sometimes. 'Cause right now the torment mechanic is kind of mindless to a degree. Like I'm sure there's some pyramid main out there who's like, no, it's a lot of thought process. You gotta think about it a lot right before you do it. Um, which I really don't think it is most of the time, but I'm sure there's
I
situations where there is, but
I quite liked the PTB effect that they did with Pyramid Head, where you would apply Torment on hit,
I
but with how Pyramid Head works currently, that was too strong. They would have to make a bunch of other changes to
I
balance that out.
I think if
But
that
I liked how that felt. It
yeah.
felt very responsive and rewarding, but it was too powerful. So they should probably bring back his cages a little bit.
Mhm.
I think, if you rescue someone from a cage, they should definitely get endurance and haste. It probably should also just not tell Pyramid Head that with a noise notification that,
Mhm.
oh, they're right there, go tunnel them, kind of thing. But
The the whole like applying tournament in the M2 they did on the PTB. I get what they were going for. They were trying to. I think they were doing what we were just talking about. They're trying to encourage people to actually want to use the M2 more and not just zone with it. Um, by giving you some kind of because right now, like if someone's healthy, honestly, you probably don't even want to hit them with the M2. You actually lose distance, a lot of distance, especially if you hit them with like a max range one. Um, So like I think they were trying to encourage it a little bit more, but I would have been fine if it was an add-on.
oh yeah,
Like if that was
his
an
goblet,
yeah, if that was like
the Eerie
goblet,
add-on.
yeah, if that was an Eerie like one of like his goblet or something like one of the ones no one uses, like I would have been totally cool with that. And I think everyone would have been fine with it. Bills.
There's a plague add-on as well. That that's
Oh yeah, the she can't even
deceivingly strong.
yes.
Um,
Especially the later the match goes.
yes, it's very different play style, but quite viable actually.
Yeah. Speaking of it, it's strange that Legion and Plague are very similar in the sense of the whole like just keep the survivors injured the whole match situation, but I feel like Plague has a lot more ways to kind of capitalize on that more than Legion does.
Yeah, her with her fountains, and then survivors can't use Iron Will against Plague because they're coughing, and
Mm-hmm.
coughing's different than Grunts of Pain.
Yeah,
So there's more of a punishment for ignoring her fountains.
yeah, and she also like she's also like I don't want to say telegraphed, but like you have more. There's more like thought to going against a plague because it's like, do I do the fountain now? Do I wait? Um, should I do the fountain on the edge of the map? Like versus Legion, where a lot of times it's like, okay, I'll mend once the frenzy ends, and then I'll just loop them like I do every other killer. um,
There's been times when I have decided just to not mend until I've gone down, basically, and
mm-hmm.
I'll just harass Legion
Yeah. What are they
because I
gonna?
know that like he can't hit me. It doesn't matter, right? So
What are they gonna do? What are you gonna do? Stab me? Uh, man. But like I think the other thing because we were talking about Freddy needing an update and Pyramid Head add-on changes and all this stuff. I think like people do need to understand that we don't want every killer to be S tier or anything like that. Just
absolutely not.
like Legion not being S tier. You don't think Legion's S tier, right?
They're B at best. They're like C to B tier. I
Listen,
think it's best if killers hover around A or B tier. C, they're a little weak. D, they're terrible. S is like there's typically a problem.
yeah.
Like with Blight, the add-ons are too much.
Well,
With Nurse, she's just fundamentally broken. I mean,
yeah, she's playing a whole other game.
yeah.
But like, my point with that is, so, like, Legion is a very simple killer. We were talking about this earlier, and I think that's fine. I think. I think the game has a place for the more simple killers, and I think as we get farther into its lifespan, people just want the more complex movement speed dash killers, and like that's cool every now and again. But like if every new killer becomes that, that's the one thing I will say about Unknown I enjoy is that they do have the teleport, but like they're different. At least they feel different. Um, and I know people complain about the line of sight mechanic and stuff like that, and the design as a whole not really fitting what a lot of people wanted. But like I think from a perspective of like adding new stuff to the game, it was a breath of fresh air, at least to me. Um, because I mean, like Singularity and Skull Merchant were two killers that like, especially Skull Merchant, that they weren't movement killers really. I mean, you could argue Singularity, but um, they weren't like dash killers. So like they weren't the most popular, and I feel like behavior kind of f themselves releasing those two killers back to back. Um, in the sense of like it just the popularity kind of went down for those killers like from the start, just based on that alone. People are not the biggest fan of like macro killers or like killers that at the end of the day their power is like pretty easy to use. It doesn't like have much skill expression with it. Which is understandable. It's just like there's a space in this game for all kinds. Um, sometimes I hear ideas of updates for like Legion where it's like make him like make them like dash forward when they're using their frenzy hit, kind of like slice and dice, and it's like what the fuck, no.
Give Legion old dead art for distance.
Don't tell me someone's actually said that. Don't tell me someone's actually said that shit.
I've just said that as a joke
Okay.
repeatedly. I just think it's funny.
Um.
I mean, look at their power icon. They're literally dead arting. Like, am I wrong? It's what they're doing.
Yeah, they are. They
Come
are.
on,
They're like half dabbing when it's the 90s.
they're
And
dabbing.
they don't even know.
The completed dab.
uh fuck. Like I don't even know where I was going with that anymore.
Me neither.
Welcome to me sometimes. Okay. Well, next question. And you have an entire YouTube. Oh, that's where I was going with this. Was YouTube comments. I mean, you read your comments, I assume, right?
For better or worse, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sure you've heard, and been a part of some ridiculous shit some people happen to say.
Yeah, mostly sexualizing me, but I mean,
Oh.
that's
Okay.
that's a different kind of ballpark.
All right. It's not where I thought that was gonna go, but okay.
No, no, not at all. No. Yeah, I'll open up my YouTube and I'll just read the most out of pocket thing ever. It's like, oh, great, thanks, cool.
Man, I just get told to off myself. All right.
Oh, I just ban those people.
I do too. Like I did a
I don't
video.
even I don't even respond. I just ban that. I mean, also like people who are just being rude to other people. Like
Mm-hmm.
if someone's just being a dickhead and it's clear that like I'm reading like a comment section and I'm just watching like three people argue with one guy,
Yeah.
and it's like okay, clearly there's a problem here. So
Yeah. I did a video about invocations, or the invocation perk the other day. I don't think I've been told to off myself more times on the internet than with that video. Um,
Jesus.
all I said was it can be useful in very specific situations, but you're gonna hurt your team in solo queue, so you probably shouldn't bring it. And oh my god.
What's wrong with that? I mean, you're literally right.
But people were like, just let me have fun. Like you don't have to try hard and sweat every match. I didn't say that. I'm just saying.
That's a completely different sense. That's a completely
Uh,
different
and
sense.
and to,
That's like the whole Twitter thing is like you say that you like pancakes and they're like, so you hate waffles? It's like, no, bitch, that's a fucking completely
what,
different sense.
like, don't get me wrong, the thumbnail and like title were like a little bit saying that, but like just watch the video. I don't care if you bring it. I'm just saying people are probably gonna be mad at you. And if you
I mean,
do,
that's the YouTube hustle though, right? Is
yeah,
thumbnail and title. You get the click in, but then you actually have a slightly different video.
yeah. Well, I did a video. This one didn't get as bad as I thought it would. I did a video called "I Hate Sable," because I really don't like Sable. But the first thing I said in the video was, "I don't actually hate the character Sable or people who play her." That was the first thing I said. I didn't even do my normal intro, and I was like, "Okay, uh, I'll go read the comments," and I can tell who didn't watch it. And just clicked on it and left a comment. I can already like I don't even have to do any thought. I know exactly who did it. Because so many
How's that
people.
even possible? Like, if you click on a video and you scroll, like, maybe if an ad is playing, but like,
I don't have ads on my videos.
so they would be hearing you literally say that you don't hate. Oh my god.
I only
As they're typing the comment, they are listening to the video.
Yeah, the only videos that have ads are these that literally just the podcast. Everything else, like my little short form commentary stuff, nope, no ads. So yeah, that they would have heard me say it, or unless they just like clicked the video, paused it, and then went down to comment and be like, "Why? She's fine. There's nothing wrong with her." Okay, I was just giving my opinion on character design. That's it. That's all I was doing. Okay.
Average YouTube comment section.
It's like it's my while I said was I don't like how relatable she is by being not relatable. That was like my biggest sticking point. And because I don't like that trope. That was it. I had no problem with people who enjoy her. I understand why people enjoy her. But I don't know. YouTube comments just fucking ugh. Moving on, back to Legion. So you have a whole YouTube channel, so I'm sure you've shown a lot. But do you have any like preferred builds for Legion?
I use like typically two builds.
Mm-hmm.
It might get a little annoying for people. I don't know. I feel like part of my YouTube community has like dementia and they just forget when my last upload was.
uh,
Like, I use Surge, Blood Echo, Mindbreaker, and then Painrez as one build, and then I use No Way Out, Noad, Enduring, and Spirit Fury with BFFs and Eerie Button on another build. And those are like the two builds that I like to use a lot.
mm-hmm.
And then anything else is just whatever people on Twitch ask me to play.
Yeah, requested.
Yeah.
Interesting to hear you say Blood Echo because I have so many people tell me because I run it on Plague and Legion sometimes. So many people are like, "Oh, Ott said it was bad. Why are you running it?"
Oh, this doesn't mean Legion.
That
So
and like, shut up, like let me run what I want.
yeah, it's like it's a different kind of playstyle too. It's
Mhm.
like you're denying exhaustion perks. What I've realized is if you deny people their sprint bursts, they throw the biggest tantrum ever in the DC. No, but they'll start healing against Legion
Mm.
and also the DC port. But that happens anyway.
Yeah, it's
Um,
Legion, of course it does.
yeah, I
Legion,
mean, like
Legion.
every other game.
Let's not pretend Legion is not just the original Skull Merchant. Okay, let's.
First Doctor, then Legion. This whole DC epidemic has only gotten worse. I don't know exactly when it started. It wasn't around when Legion got their last rework. It was probably within the last year when it's like every other game someone's giving up or disconnecting. I'd rather they disconnect because then they get a
Mm-hmm.
teammate. But like giving up on Hook and
I've
going AFK, and it's like why even play the game? Like why are you readying up if you don't want to play the game?
I've been playing the Survivor a lot for the event. Which I still play Survivor sometimes, but I've been playing it more for the event. Um, and I went against like 4 Legions in a row, which I understand why. Legion is like I think the best blood point farming character in the game. Am I wrong?
No, both Hillbilly, Legion, who else? Wraith. Those are
Freddy.
some really, really easy blood point farmers.
Yeah,
I'd say probably also Spirit, because
and
her phase gives her a lot of blood points.
yeah, Freddy too. He gets like I think 500 every time someone falls asleep.
Oh, that's pretty good. New
Yeah.
Pig as well, actually,
Mm,
because her ambush got a
yeah.
bunch of score events changed.
Mm.
So if you're doing lots of ambushing, you'll probably max out deviousness really quickly.
Yeah, but Legion's probably like of all of those, the simplest one because it's just like, how many do you get for? Do you know how many you get for like a Feral Frenzy hit?
You get 250.
Uh huh.
So Frenzy's score event itself is tied to how long you're in your power. So default's 250. Any add-ons increase that accordingly. So if you're in Frenzy and you get like a 5 hit, usually you get like 1,000 points from being in Frenzy. You've gotten 1,000 points from applying Deep Wound to 4 people. You've gotten 300 blood point scores. So you have 1,500
Hmm.
from Brutality. Um, yeah, you get your blood points pretty quickly. You get Chaser, Deviousness, and Brutality maxed like within like 2 minutes of the game.
Yeah. So like, of course, people are playing them during a blood point event, but like the amount of people in those games that just gave up on First Hook the moment they saw it was a Legion was just disheartening. Like it.
I'm so jealous because I never play against Legion.
Um.
I just never get them now.
Well, listen. All right. I'm pretty sure my killer MMR is at least decently high because I win most of my matches. Someone would argue that by watching my gameplay sometimes, but listen. I don't want to make this about MMR because we'd be here for literally 6 hours.
uh,
I do not understand the argument of you're going against bad survivors, therefore your MMR must be low, and
yeah,
also you're winning all the time, so your survivors must be bad. It
that
can't
makes
be both.
it can't be both. It literally can't be both. Plus, you have the backfill problem where if there's not like if people keep dodging lobbies, then just chucks whoever's in there.
Hmm.
So it's like you might get a lobby at first that's matched with your rating, but then like 3 people leave, and then it's like, oh, quickly find someone. It's like now you get like someone who has like 30 hours.
Yeah,
So like, of course, the matchmaking's gonna be all screwy there.
yeah. I also play it.
That's
Did you,
that's
go ahead.
Nah, I was just gonna say like that. Like ultimately, it doesn't matter because Dead by Daylight, it's not really like built to be like a super competitive esport game. It's more of like a casual game with light
Hmm.
competitive elements.
I mean,
Like the ratings that it's hidden because it's not meant to be like an esport. It's meant to just kind of make new players not be miserable. So
I've said for a while that if they didn't tell us MMR was added to the game, do you think anyone would complain about it?
nobody would even know.
Exactly.
I think the MMR, like once you hit the soft cap,
Hmm.
um or even like remotely close to it, I feel like it's the same experience as you would have like before being at like rank 1 survivor or killer before the whole MMR system,
Yeah,
because you like that wasn't built on skill, it was built on playtime. Like if you play the game enough even with MMR, you'll eventually escape and get kills,
mhm,
so you'll eventually climb the MMR rating and then get those mixed lobbies. So
yeah,
it
and
doesn't even matter.
no, I've made my stance on MMR very clear. I don't really care. Um, like I'm not like even if I was like doing win streaks and stuff, I really wouldn't care. At the end of the day, like if I'm not good enough to get a win streak against like even a good team, like then that's on me, not on the MMR necessarily. Like I don't know. I said before I don't know what people want with this game sometimes. Like should MMR be in the game? Probably not, but at the same time, like it should be there at least to a degree. I just always thought they should have never just said they added it. They should have just added it and never told anybody. And I think the community would be in a better place if they
Yeah,
did.
I mean, like when my partner first started playing DBD, like I never was entirely sure if MMR did anything, but I could definitely see no, it does something
Hmm.
because her lobbies were like comically bad players. Like it made sense for her to start with that rating and be put into lobbies with other new people.
Hmm.
It took like maybe 3 months of her playing to start getting into like more regular lobbies. Um, but there MMR works.
Yeah.
just to stop that rumor that, oh, it doesn't do anything. No, it definitely does.
Hmm.
There's a huge difference between top and low MMR. Major
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah. 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 Um, and I also I make I stream at 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. So I'm also playing at like quote degen hours. So my MMR is already fucked anyways. So like if anyone, and I don't do that just so I hate this fucking. I've had someone come in and be like, you only play at this time, so you get bad players. First off, 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. is like a crapshoot. It's either people who are like half asleep or like the most try hard people in the game, and I hate saying that word, but um, it's one of the two. There's usually never a middle ground. Um, so like I'm not doing it to like bolster anything. Like what do I have to gain from that? You know?
Yeah, like why would it even matter
Yeah.
to those kinds of people like when you play? Like you're just playing the video game.
Mm-hmm.
I've never really cared about raising or lowering my MMR. I just play the game and if I win, I win. If I lose, I lose. If I lose, I'm like I make a joke like, "Oh, hey, I lost." And I get to lower my MMR. I slay, but like I really don't give a shit.
Suffering from success.
Literally.
I,
No, but like I've never really cared. I
yeah,
just play normally.
yeah,
And if the lobbies get too hard, it's like, okay, time to lose a little bit. You know, it's gonna naturally happen and I'll get more normal games and you know, I'll move on from there.
yeah.
I don't freak out when it's like, oh my god, the streamer I'm watching, he got 3 kills against people who don't know how to look behind. It's like I don't give a shit. I really don't care.
It's a game. I got a clip. Let me move on now. Okay. People will make fun of me for the clip. It's fine. Yeah. MMR is just a weird beast, and I feel like at this point it's just DBD's boogeyman because I don't know any other other than maybe Call of Duty. I don't know any other community that complains about MMR as much as this one does, and I get why to a degree, but at the same time, like I really don't think it's too much different than the old rank system. Not gonna lie, the only difference is you kind of had the option with the old rank system, but that was about it.
The old rank system was, I think, a little more abusable because you could
Mm-hmm.
intentionally lower your rank.
Yeah.
It's
But
hard to intentionally lower your MMR because I feel like it's like it lowers based on your opponents.
mm-hmm.
Like if you lose against opponents that are really good, like it doesn't go down that much because it knew going in that like you were probably going to lose. But if you lose against people who are your skill or worse, then it goes down more. You don't have control over knowing that. So
Yeah.
it's harder to like exploit the system.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then like I think I think there's also this idea of like the whole like oh MMR encourages people to be sweaty. I
It's just a mindset.
that's what I've always said. I don't understand where that idea comes from. It's like, oh well, people. Okay, let's say it's a brand new player. They know nothing about MMR. In what way is the MMR, the hidden rating they have, encouraging them to be sweaty? In
They
what
can't
way?
see it, they can't hear it, they can't touch it, it doesn't exist to them. They don't even know it's in the game. The only way they would know that MMR is in the game is if they watch a streamer who has top MMR in their title when they're
Mm-hmm.
playing at mid MMR and then says that they're at top MMR and everyone should sweat. That's the only reason anyone would ever sweat,
Yeah,
is because they want to be like X big streamer or creator who's like, I get the toughest lobbies. It's like, no, you fucking don't.
and then
But
and
it's
then
an ego thing, right?
yeah, and then it's like the idea of like, well, I have to bring meta because everyone else is bringing meta because of MMR. No, people are bringing meta because you're bringing meta. That's why they're doing it. Like,
It's also creators' fault. Like if creators just say like, "Oh, you have to bring this because the lobbies are too hard and it's a survivor started game and gens are done in like two seconds and they get like 12 million unhooks and I've been pallet stunned 860 billion times in the same like of course like people are going to listen to that and they're going to start bringing four slowdowns and a
mhm.
bunch of really strong perks and the best builds. It's like it's just a self-feeding cycle. It's repetitive. It's like one
Yeah,
person sees this, and then someone brings that, and then the other person sees that, and then brings this, and then you get it. It just keeps going and going.
yeah. I did. I'm right now. I'm doing an experiment. Well, the event's going on, so I'm waiting for it to be done. But I'm doing an experiment with Chucky where I'm doing. I did 50 games of Chucky with no perks or add-ons. Um, and I got the data from that, kills, game length, and then I'm gonna try to look at like all the survivor perks and whatever later. And now I'm doing 50 games with the best, quote, the best build, which is 4 slowdowns and like 2 of his best add-ons. And I want to see how much of a difference it really makes. As of now, I'm at like 32 games on the best stuff, and match times have extended by a grand total of 45 seconds.
Yeah, it's negligible.
And kills are the interesting thing because I think they're actually going to even out because I think I've gotten more 0 kills matches with the best add-ons than or with the best stuff than I did with with nothing. Um, Now I also don't camp and tunnel, so like that also needs to be taken into account. But like I'm just curious how much of a difference it like really makes. Even like match time. How long do you think an average match of Dead by Daylight with no perks or add-ons is?
I think it's probably 8 to 12 minutes.
About that. My average was 11 and a half minutes,
Yeah.
which is still like a decent time. Like don't get me wrong, there were still those matches where sometimes the gens would just fucking fly.
Yeah, but that's the whole point of the keyword there, average.
Yeah.
Like there's like we just said that there's probably gonna be someone in your comments who's like, oh boy, I just had a game where they did all the gens and fucked my wife. Like, yeah, dude.
It
Like it happens.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not every game though.
Yeah, Haddonfield. I noticed that was the one common denominator for those. By the way, any match that was
Instant
less,
DC.
yeah, no, any match that was less than 6 minutes was Haddonfield,
That map sucks.
especially for a 110 killer with no range.
You either 3 gen and eventually lose because you can't 3 gen,
Mhm.
or you loop the infinite loops on the houses with
Yeah,
like 8 safe windows. Like
yeah,
there's no winning as killer there. It's just boring.
yeah.
I don't know why survivors will ever lose on that map, but like it's the same with thing like with Gideons. Like, how are you losing on Gideons? It's literally 30 safe pallets with no counterplay. How do you lose?
They
So
can't find the gens would be my assumption on that one.
can't find gens. The
Uh,
killer's nurse. They I don't know, man. It's there's a
it
few bad
it
maps in this game.
Well, it's funny with Gideon's too because I hate that map. I think most killers do. I checked through my VODs before though. As much as I hate that map, I have never lost on it.
Damn.
I hate that. I hate that that's the case.
Well, I mean, what if you believe the data, the big data from behavior
Mhm.
they've shown like Gideon's is a allegedly a killer sided map, so I mean clearly it needs more pallets.
I, yeah, I just put more in the middle, I guess. Okay, just close up the holes. Get rid of the holes. There you go.
No more holes.
Um, yeah, because it's like, funny enough, the worst map I think, the map I do the worst on isn't even Haddonfield, because even like with those like 6 minute matches, I usually end up getting at least a kill. The only map so far in all of this data of 80 matches where I have not gotten a kill on this map a single time is Toba Landing,
Which oh, okay.
the
The
singular.
singularity map.
Yeah, I have not gotten a single kill on that map during these 80 games.
The one thing I dislike about that
It's
map is probably its clutter.
the sounds for
The
me.
sounds.
Um,
Damn.
like Dead Dog messes me up with the sounds too. I swear I'm the only one who ever complains about this, but the vultures on Dead Dog sound like footsteps. I don't know if
To me
that's
they sound like hit sounds. So I get confused.
yeah. It's like the fire barrels on Macmillan. It's like just can you just shut the fuck up for 5 minutes? Like um
I don't have that issue with Macmillan, but I can definitely relate to the vultures and to the plant sounds on Toba. That makes sense.
well, yeah, I mean I'd be cool with it if it was kind of like RPD where like the sound happens or Midwich where like the sound happens once. But it's constant and it's very frustrating and yeah, like Chucky has an add-on. Do you know what Mirror Shards does on Chucky?
That's the one that I believe shows you the footfalls, right?
Yes, it also lets you hear them.
Oh, Oh, that's annoying.
Yes, that's why I tell people it's probably it's one of his worst add-on, and never run it because you will confuse yourself while using it. The amount of times I've used it, because people like to make me use it on stream sometimes. The amount of times I've used it and like I'll like check a corner because I'm like, oh, I just heard them and it was my own fucking footsteps.
That's so rough.
It's such like I get what they were going for. It's just such a bad idea. Like make it a brown, please, and replace it. Like please, just.
It's cool they have that option though, but like it will definitely mess with you.
I think what they were going for is like it's like a tracking thing.
1,000,000%, yeah. That's I bet they probably thought about making that base kit, but then weren't sure about it, so they made it an add-on.
Yeah. I would love it changed to something where you could extend your turn rate, but that's
I think I have a crazy opinion about Chucky. Remove the passive scamper, so like he can't just duck under a pallet whenever he wants or over a window.
mm-hmm.
But if he's in slice and dice, it's faster, and every time he vaults something in slice and dice or scampers under a pallet, it resets your turn rate restriction, so you can turn another 90 degrees. So you can turn 90, you vault something, then you turn another 90.
I like that. Make it like the Blight add-on.
Yeah, I don't know. Just like give him a bigger reason to use slice and dice more actively instead of
Yeah.
just auto scamper.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
that plays a lot like Old Legion, where you just drop something, you vaults, and then downs it. It's like, okay, I'm outskilled, my bad.
Also, have you had anyone compare Legion to Chucky recently? I'm very curious about this because I have people do it to me all the time.
I mean, they're similar, but like Legion's way more counterable
Yeah.
than Chucky.
Well.
Like especially like Legion, if he wants to down you, he has to hit 4 people.
Mm-hmm.
It's like piss easy to counter. You just split up and body block or stun him, juke him. Like there's a 8 gajillion things you can do.
Well.
With Chucky, it's like, hope he's bad.
Hope he's bad. Hope he misses. Hope I'm at a bad loop.
Yeah,
Um.
it's rough.
I will die on this hill. If you want to play against Chucky, just go to like, like those junk loops on like Auto Haven and stuff, where like it's like a pallet and like you can see over it from both sides and it's very short.
Oh, I bet I think I'm gonna try and beat you to this.
Uh-huh.
I bet it's because he doesn't move fast enough
Mm-hmm.
and his scamper takes too long, so you can run around the whole thing, right?
Yeah, his scamper takes too long to do. He can't run around it fast enough because he's 110 with no range, and you can't curve it with slice and dice because you'll just hit the pallet.
Legion had that exact same problem when they nerfed his speed, like way, way long ago. When they made vaulting take like twice as long and they moved slower in Frenzy, every single junk loop and LT wall was an infinite against Legion's Frenzy because they couldn't catch up to the person.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason that I guessed the scamper thing with that junk loop.
Yeah, I tell people that, and then people don't like hearing that. They're like, "That's not counterplay." It's not, but it's an option you have, and people should use it more. Because like people like avoid. It's really funny when I play Chucky, people don't avoid them, but when I play like Deathslinger, people go to them all the time. But like, just go to junk loops or TL wall. Like Chucky cannot do much at a TL wall, or any like long wall. It's like if you go around the corner before him, he really cannot hit you. Because the turn, like he can't do the turn until he's at the end of the slice and dice. So like,
Right.
yeah, so
Yeah, that little like 0.2 second end period where you can actually like turn more than you previously could.
yeah, you can like quote hug tech a bit, but that's about it really.
Can you still run at a vault and then like 180 from
Yes,
it?
yeah, it's a
Okay.
it's called a scancel.
Of fucking course it is.
There's like there's three there's four now. Someone actually found another one yesterday. There's four Chucky tech names. It's the Chuck slide, which is basically a hug tech. It's not really a hug tech. You just slide across like a car or some shit. Um there's the scancel, which is when you scamper, you slice and dice towards a window or something, and then you 180 to cancel it, and extend the range without going through the animation. There's Chuck spots, which is just a check spot. And then there's what is it? Is it the drop in dice? I think it's either it's the drop in dice. It's if you're on a hill, you can or like an elevated position, if you charge the slice and dice the moment you start falling, Chucky doesn't make the sound of him going like ah before like he does it. So like you can hide the sound effect.
So that's useful for like sneaking up on someone or something.
Yeah. But yeah, those are like the four main ones. The Scancel's probably the only one anyone cares about, but I love my Chuck spots. Okay.
Chuck spots.
Chuck spots. I'm making a T-shirt.
Oh God.
It's great. I gotta find somebody to get rid of the or get away with the copyright, but I'm making a T-shirt for it. I love it. It's my favorite thing about playing him. I don't.
That's hype.
I don't play him for the stealth or for the cool flicks or like the scamper. I literally just play him to hide around a corner and watch you run into me with a third person camera. It's just so fucking funny to me. Um, yeah, we kind of are getting into this with state of the game, but and you kind of alluded to it earlier, but like state of the game overall and the event for those who want us to date this is going on during the Blood Moon event right now, so it's a little iffy, but like overall, how would you say the state of the game is?
Pretty good. I mean, the devs, they've been adding in more and more accessibility features like the FOV slider,
Mm-hmm.
hearing impairment options with subtitles, and then also the visual areas. We have a graphics menu. After like what 8 years, we can
Yeah,
actually change the in-game graphics on PC anyway.
I actually forgot they added that in.
Yeah, that was with the Alien chapter. That was a surprise. Like, oh my god, we can turn off VSync and raise our FPS.
it's such
That's
a
crazy.
it's such like an industry standard thing. I just forgot they added it.
It's like it should have been there from day one. And then we got FSR recently too, but that's a little buggy. You have to keep reapplying it every time you start the game.
Yeah.
But that's great for like lower end machines if you want to get more extra like FPS.
Hmm.
They should totally add like DLSS into the game.
Yeah.
Uh, as far as balance, I think the game's pretty much in a really good state. Like there's like two or three maps that I have a problem with,
Hmm.
but then everything else, like I would have to cherry pick. So maps aren't really that big of an issue anymore. I think all the maps that they've re-released have been pretty good. Like the Borgo rework, I think is probably one of the most balanced maps actually in the game right now. It's like a perfect square. Loops are easy to deal with as M1 killers.
Hmm.
But it's not like too awful for Survivor either. Garden of Joy definitely needs a rework. Same with
Again.
Hadfield.
Do you even know what they
Um,
changed in Garden of Joy? I've asked people this, and a lot of people don't
they
know.
they changed some of the generic loops that would spawn.
Hmm.
So like there used to be a really safe truck loop
Yes. Yeah.
in front of the house. That's
Yeah.
gone.
That's
It's been
gone.
replaced by a log loop. Um, they also shortened one of the fence loops by the tree. It used to be longer.
Hmm.
It's shorter now. And they also changed some of the pallet spawns on the other side of the map, like near the parking lot.
Hmm.
So instead of having those safe jungle gyms now, it's typically just like a long wall with a pallet. Um, and then they moved like two breakable wall spawns, and then that's it.
Yeah, and they well, there's one other thing they did, but this one's RNG. You know the God palette in the front of the house.
Oh yeah, that one.
Like if you're going like towards the front of the house and you go to the right of the balcony, it's that there's sometimes the balcony, like the railing, it'll be broken on both sides so the killer can actually play it.
Oh,
Yeah,
damn.
it's RNG based. I've noticed though. Sometimes that won't spawn. Sometimes it won't be broken, so you can't play it. I don't know why they did that.
I
Because
think I think they should make that just a constant thing. Remove the window in the dining room, and then turn the dining room into like a really unsafe pallet loop.
I like the window at the back of the house, not the
The
god.
kitchen.
Yeah, but the other one, like the god window there, like why is that there?
Yeah, I'm fine with the window upstairs at the gen because the stagger makes it so you can just catch the person anyway. So,
Hmm.
but the kitchen loop, I don't have a problem with. The dining room is that's stupid.
Yeah. Also, can we give a reason for people to go to the back side of the upstairs? Um,
Oh yeah,
just
I mean, there's a chest spawn there, but other
is
than
there?
that, like, yeah, they're in the long room with that hallway to the window. There's usually a chest that spawns up there.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
I don't blame you. I mean, there was a period of time that room was bugged
Uh,
and it was like pitch black, so you could run up there in the middle of a chase and then just hide right in front of the killer, and they
uh,
just wouldn't see you.
it's like on RPD, the fucking the bathroom area that no one goes to.
Speaking of bathrooms, the Hanfield bathroom upstairs, it used to be there in the Myers house, and they removed it because it was like a dead zone.
Hmm.
Because you would run up the staircase, you'd go left instead of right, and you'd just be in a bathroom, and the killer would just corner you.
Am
They removed
I
that.
I don't know if I'm in the minority. I actually think after they fixed the God window on Haddonfield, old Haddonfield was fine.
Old Hanfield's only problems were the infinite hedges and fences. I think the map was a perfect size for what it was, and the loops were easy to deal with. I had basically no issue with Hanfield. Old Hanfield, leaps and bounds better than the new one. The new one's ass.
Yeah, like I don't know what the common sentiment is because obviously we're in our own little like in our own little like DVD bubble in corners of the internet. So like I'd be genuinely curious what the general the actual general sentiment is for the new Haddonfield because I don't like the new Haddonfield. I don't hate it, but like the way like the fact that like two windows can spawn in a lot of the buildings and the fact that the middle of the map is literally a dead zone event like you know not literally but like it gets to a point to where it's basically a dead zone, the fact that survivors can 3-gen themselves so easily, like I don't know. I mean like
One of the small things with Haddonfield that bothers me, it's a reoccurring problem on Haddonfield and Nostromo,
mhm,
but both those maps are really poorly optimized. There's certain areas where your FPS just drops by like 30 or 40. If you go down into the House of Pain's basement on Haddonfield,
mhm.
if you go to the back side of the staircase and look at the wall, for some reason I dropped like 30 frames. I don't know why.
Hmm.
It's if there's just the optimization on both Hanfield and on Nostromo maps, it just pisses me off because I'm very like susceptible to like in like how would I even say it? I'm susceptible to inconsistent frame times, I think is how I'd put
No,
it. So, like
that's
I feel every drop and it's like it feels so gross.
yeah, yeah, I get you. I mean, I'm not like a huge FPS. Like I always my opinion on FPS has always been, I don't care if it's 120, 60, or 30, or whatever the fuck, or 240, or whatever you want to make it. As long as it's consistent, I don't care. I'll play a game
That's
at
exactly how I
yeah,
feel.
I'll play a game at 12 FPS as long as it's always 12 FPS.
I um I used to for the longest time play DBD at 60 frames.
I think I still do.
I bumped it up to 120 and
Mhm.
I hate that I've done that because it looks better, but it's inconsistent and it drives me crazy. My chat bullies me about it because like, "Tut, you're changing your settings again." It's like, yeah, of course I fucking am. I'm going crazy, bro.
I
So I'm probably gonna drop it back down to 60 and just try and revert back to that.
yeah, just give it time. You'll be. I've talked to. I know this has been like quote debated for a long time on like does 120 FPS actually make a difference? When you're playing, it does. When you're watching, it usually doesn't, unless like you have like an eye for that kind of thing. Um, as far as the like studies and whatever have gone, but yeah, like yeah, just bump it down to 60. Like it's Step by Daylight. Do you really need 120?
There's like maybe two killers where 120 frames like helps to play
Yeah.
as or against, but then other than that, it's like 60 is fine because everything's melee typically.
Yeah.
Like 120 as Huntress, I think is probably a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
But like Legion at 60 versus 120, it's literally the same. Like the animations look better,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not gameplay, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Um,
I loop the same at 60 versus 120.
who the
I actually
hell?
have an easier time hitting skill checks at 60 because it's always the same frame time.
Mm-hmm.
So I just always get great skill checks. Every single skill check is a great skill check for me at 60. While at 120, it's like I typically miss by like a pixel or two and it goes off.
I forget. Oh, sorry. Oh. And it's not you. I
Me when
just
I don't drink my coffee.
for those who want the behind the scenes thing here, I had to wake up early for this. Okay, let me. I usually don't wake up till noon, so.
My girlfriend had me up at like 9.
Mm,
It's like this is like 2 hours before I normally wake up.
yeah, I work.
I'd normally be getting up like right about now.
Yeah, I work closing shifts, so this is about when I usually wake up. So I've been up for like an extra 2 hours. But uh, fuck. What was I even saying? Oh yeah, I don't know who it was. I remember someone was playing this game at like 240 FPS and like claiming like it's necessary to play the game at the top level, and I'm like, first off, no, it's not. Second off, like why like how do you come to this conclusion? I just don't understand.
Are they cheating? Because the game is hard coded to cap it at 120.
It depends on your definition of cheating.
I guess, but I feel like what you can't unlock it in the configs anymore. So I feel like either that's old DBD or they've probably used like some config hack.
This is probably from like a couple years ago if I remember right, but it still blows my mind. It's just like
You don't need that much frame rate.
you don't.
Like unless like even if you have a 240 hertz monitor,
That's the other
like it
thing.
doesn't
That
matter.
is the other
It
thing
really
I
doesn't matter.
yeah, that's the other thing I tell people, and I think people forget that shit where it's like, oh well, I'm playing this any game at like 240. Okay, uh, what's your monitor hertz? 60. So you're
If
not.
yeah, like if your monitor is 60 hertz, you're only ever seeing 60 frames at a time.
Yeah.
Like your frame rate doesn't go higher than that. So like I play like I have a G-Sync
Mm-hmm.
monitor, right? So my refresh rate changes based on whatever my FPS is,
Yeah.
but
Weird flex, but
normally
okay.
my monitor is 144. I'm happy to play games at 60. I'm happy to play them at 120, like 144. It's all fine. I have VSync on in every game. I don't push it. The input lag doesn't bother me because I'm always with G-Sync, so there's minimal input lag,
Mm.
especially at 144. You do not notice the input lag delay from VSync.
Yeah.
Um,
You're just a god. That's all it does.
like I used to play DBD on a 60 hertz monitor, and I would be bothered by VSync at that refresh rate, and so I would still have my FPS capped at 60, but I just turned off VSync, so it was still 60 frames though. Um, but like I don't know why anyone would ever uncap their frame rate and turn off VSync if they're not even able to see those frames.
Yeah, I think what it also sorry about my dog for anyone hearing
Oh
that,
no, it's not a
but
problem. I'm surprised my cat hasn't gone crazy.
um yeah, I think my sisters went outside, so she's howling, trying to get them back in. But I don't know. I think it's just a situation of like number go up, me happy. I really think that's all it comes down to for some people.
I mean, a lot of people, and I'm a little guilty of this as well. Like, you like to max out your settings in games because you feel like, oh yeah, I'm pushing my hardware or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I like to play DVD on basically the max settings because I think the game on anything else just looks like fucking dog shit.
It does. As
Um,
someone who
but
as someone who used to play this on a laptop, yes, it does.
like, if it's a thing, like even though I should be playing DBD at 60 frames, seeing that the 60 FPS option is chosen and not the highest kind of bothers me because I'm like, oh well, let me push it, but it's like I can't because it causes problems on
Mhm.
most maps. And it's side note, I don't know why anyone spends like $3,000 on a PC just to play DBD at like the lowest settings with AA off. Like you're disgusting, bro. Your game looks like dog shit.
I bought my PC. It's a pre-built GeForce PC. You can say shit, or you can call me a scrub or whatever the fuck. But it was like $300 on Black Friday. And I can run DVD on ultra settings when I'm streaming.
Ultra at 60.
Yeah.
Like that's all that matters is if your stream looks fine, your game looks fine and runs fine, then who
Hmm.
cares?
Yeah. Like I run into some problems because once again it's pre-built. I haven't really upgraded it because I'm a broke boy. But Okay,
That was
sorry.
my honest reaction when I
Yeah.
heard you have a pre-build.
Listen, okay. Could I build my own PC? Probably. All right. Listen, I just
Anyone can.
it.
It's like Lego.
Yeah.
It's
I
pretty
just
straightforward,
I
but
work a
not
lot.
everyone has the money.
Yeah, I work a lot at this point. I just don't. I don't have the time, the want, the need, or especially the money to do it. That's all, and it does what I need it to do. At the end of the day, I think that's what people forget. Like, if you do, you really need a PC that's running 240 FPS on every game you're playing?
No.
Like, like I mean, the
I it would be nice, but you don't need it, and you probably won't even tell the difference between like 144 and 200 anyway. So why does it matter?
yeah, and I know you're a little younger than me, but like, do you remember the "Can it run Crisis" meme?
Yes.
like I feel like that meme is just like perpetuated into like just how people treat PC gaming now, like in general. Um,
Yeah. What's the new one? Can it run?
I don't even know. I don't even
Yeah.
know because
It's
most
probably one of
games,
those games that came out that was like really badly optimized.
yeah, most games now are pretty well. I can play pretty much even with this shitty pre-built one. I can play pretty much every game.
Can it
Um,
run Forspoken?
probably not, but that's probably a good thing.
Dog water game.
Um, yeah, because like I've been trying to play Helldivers. Honestly, my PC can run Helldivers just fine. Uh, the problem I have with Helldivers is it's fucking 90 gigabytes. It's the only problem I have with it.
Ooh, it's
Uh,
pretty big.
yeah, I don't know. My PC's like internal. My SSD is fine. It's just like there's only enough room on there for like 2 or 3 games max, and a lot of games now kind of require SSD. Not every game, but like I could play like Valorant on my portable hard drive, but the because that has like 3 terabytes, so I use that for like videos and stuff. Um, but the loading times are fucking abysmal. I'll be sitting there in a queue loading time for like 2 or 3 minutes. Um, and in a multiplayer game, I just feel bad because everyone's waiting on me. Um, Dead by Daylight is actually decently optimized. I'll be honest. For the most part, there's exceptions obviously, but I don't really run into any issues with it.
I uh I haven't ran into any issues really in DBD for a while since I upgraded my GPU and CPU. I used to play DBD way back on a 1060 and like Ryzen 5 1500X and shit. And I think the most I could do was like medium settings, but that was like back in the day. Like DVD's been fairly well optimized, but I'm also like a little. I'm in the minority, I think, because I have a fairly high end system,
Mm-hmm.
or at least high end when I like upgraded it in a few years. Now it's like mid range, but it's like I only have issues on two maps when I play the game. Like again, Haddonfield and Nostromo. That's it. Everything else runs like perfectly fine. When I stream, it's a little bit of a different story, but
That's
I mean,
a whole other beast though.
yeah, that's just OBS being a resource hog. Like that's different. But
How much CPU does OBS take for you?
um it's mostly GPU because
Really?
I encode with NVENC, so it's like
Oh, okay.
yeah, I think it drops my FPS by about
Mm-hmm.
10 or 15 probably.
I think
Um
my GPU it takes like 15% most of the time.
Yeah, I don't know percentage.
Oh, yeah, and
Like,
C
I feel like my percentage, like, it changes a lot depending on the scene. I'd say
yeah.
it probably goes up by about the same amount, like 12 or 15%.
Yeah,
So whatever that would correlate to, like
I yeah,
frame pacing and FPS.
I used to have like an animated scene for like my just starting, and I had to get rid of it because even in the background, it was eating up my CPU for some reason.
Oh, that's rough.
It's like really, really, you can't just like fucking pause it when it's not open. Okay.
Well,
Um,
couldn't you do I think there's an OBS setting that, like, if you check it, it can unload images that are not being used currently.
it, I'll Yeah, I need to look into it. I'm
I
still.
think I think that's in like properties. Like you have to right click or properties, and it's like buried in like it's like oh unload this image when it's not in use or something.
Yeah, I'm working on a I'm working on a text to speech bot right now, so I'll probably do that after that. I got a little Chucky doll that's gonna talk for everybody. It's great.
Oh, that's
Um,
fun.
yeah, his name is Bartholomew von Scamper. my, my, my
I
community,
lost.
my community came up with that stupid name joke for a thing, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. If you guys want to keep saying it, I'll just make him real. It's just Chucky in a top hat with a monocle. That's great. It's so good.
That's so good.
Um, but yeah, I think like state of the game though, like I think behavior's doing better for sure.
They're doing a pretty good job. Don't quote the meme, please. It's so not funny.
Well,
But
like what a pretty good job starting
they're
to.
doing a good job. They're doing a good job. They've they've wised their asses up. They used to be like, oh, the data says we're not buffing Trapper. It's like they've stopped doing that. They're like, yeah, you want to buff Pig? All right, bet. And then they buff Pig.
Yeah. More shit like that, please. Like I don't even care if it's unbalanced for like a month. Just more shit like that, please. Um, like as much as like I complain, like why did you buff Huntress? Fuck it. You know, like I'm still like happy they're doing stuff. That's all. I would like
Oh,
them.
definitely.
Yeah, I would like them to be doing other things, but like whatever.
I would definitely prefer them to try stuff than to just leave the game as is and be scared to change anything.
Mhm.
Because that's what they used to like everyone was saying like, oh, you gotta like reduce Legion's cooldown down to 3 seconds like it used to be instead of 4. And like I heard multiple times devs say like, oh, that's dangerous because then you can just power cancel right behind you and it's fine. Like it's fine. But back in the day they were so like scared of changing anything
Mhm.
about any killer because it's like, oh, it could be broken if you brought these two add-ons and then you did a backflip and then like it's like, yeah, dude, sure. But they've kind of become more chill and accepting of community feedback over the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, even the event going on right now. I mean, like people were complaining about the blood points not being enough, and lo and behold, the next day they increased it.
They patched it and I've never cared so much about like event mechanics. So
Hmm.
I'm glad that this event's fairly tame.
Yeah.
Personally, I just play for the blood points.
Hmm.
This is a pretty fire event for blood points, man.
Oh
You
my
get like
god.
200k or per game. It's
Uh,
I like that.
yeah, a friend of mine, Heckaroni, who I've had on for the pig main thing, he's about to finish prestiging unknown
No, that's fantastic.
just
That's pretty quick.
from this event. Like he's been getting like 10 prestiges a day.
Jesus
Like
Christ.
it's insane. And we're not even at the max yet.
No, we still have 2 notches to go, I believe, right? I'm opening the game right now just to check
Yeah.
where the community is at, but
Also,
like,
speaking of, I know this is going to come out after the event, but I need to just I just want to say this out loud. PSA, put down the fucking blood things. That is how we get more blood points.
oh yeah, party streamers.
No. I
Um,
meant the actual event thing, like the making the blood zones.
oh, those,
Yeah,
yes.
that's what
Okay.
contributes to us getting more blood points because that's what it's tracking. Um, which in people's defense, behavior could have explained that better because I thought it was just blood points gained, like by the community. That's what I thought it was. It's not. It's not that at all. uh, but yeah, please, the amount of people I see just running around with like blood swirls around them, not putting them down. Like I get it, but just please, just put them down.
No, no, definitely. I feel like people neglect those pretty often.
Um, on the bright side, it does make getting those 2 challenges much easier. Which has just been kind of nice. Uh, but yeah, I think the game is in an alright spot. I think people just like to complain too much. Um, like there's outliers. I would love another 6.1 type chip patch. Uh, Personally,
No, I think that would be good.
well, because I think like 6.1 happened, and because I mean you were there for it, all of us were there for it. Everyone was excited and so happy it was happening. There's a bit of complaints like, oh, this has changed, this has changed. I don't like Iron Will being useless now. Um, you know,
Side note: Iron Will is still a very good perk.
it
You just can't
is.
use it with exhaustion perks.
It is.
With the killer's chase music blasting, 75% is literally the same as 100. It's pretty much the same as it was.
Also, if you
It's just
really,
not broken anymore.
yeah, and if you really, really, really liked Iron Will, bring Bite the Bullet in a med kit. You would be
True.
surprised. You would be
You can heal
surprised.
mid chase
Yeah.
right around the corner. It's good.
Like I'm not ashamed to admit that like me see movement me go for and sometimes I'll just walk past somebody. Like it happens. Like everyone's seen the clips on both sides. It happens all the fucking time. But like I think the problem with 6.1 wasn't that it happened. I think it's that it only happened once.
It only happened once, and they overbuffed and overnerfed some things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what people didn't love it so much. Like, for instance, they overbuffed Overcharge, as we know. We had the infamous Overbrine meta, where you use Colorbrine with Overcharge.
What do you mean?
Eruption as well. That was stupid. And then they overnerfed some other things like Hex Ruin. Spine Chill, for some reason, had to get completely gutted. Same with Decisive. That got completely gutted.
I still don't know how Spine Chill works with Chucky.
Does it even work with Chucky?
It
if
does.
you're
I need to test it, but like I don't know if the edges of the camera count. I would assume they do. But I don't legitimately don't. It doesn't really matter, but like it's still something nice to know if they ever buff it, you know.
I think I don't know how many people would be okay with it, but I think at this point Spine Chill should just be reworked to be like a stealth perk rather than it gives you action speed when you're being looked at. Like make it so like I have a suggestion for it somewhere actually. Let me fucking dig this up. I'm on my Google Doc right now looking at it. Where is it? Make it so it's like you get like a crazy action bonus for like hiding in lockers and slowly vaulting stuff when the killer's like looking at you. So like, oh, you can kind of get away without being heard or something. I don't know. You could do some shit like that. You could, I don't know. You can maybe even just revert it to how it was before, but then still keep the like the undetectable and oblivious thing.
Yeah, I
Keep
think
the linger. Like,
I really do think we need more locker perks.
yeah, no, I agree. I like inner strength was a good perk for a while when that was free for everybody. Now it's back to being a Stranger Things exclusive.
Yeah.
We definitely need perks that are beginner friendly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like who the fuck uses like what's that one survivor perk that just does absolutely nothing? Slippery meat.
Slippery meat. Oh my god.
Slippery meat.
You mean the one
slippery meat
that makes people kill themselves?
Yeah, that one. Yeah. God. They should, you know what they should do with that? They should make it so that it makes it so that if you get hooked, right? Once you get hooked, you get like a token up to 2, obviously, because you can get hooked 2 times. And then each token increases your wiggle speed when you're being carried by like a certain percentage. And then anytime you break free from the killer's grasp, whether you're saved by wiggling off, someone pallet stuns, flashlight, a token's lost, and then yeah. Basically it would just be like a stackable speed bonus for wiggling based on the number of hooks you get.
I've had the idea of keep it how it is, but make it so you can attempt if you have the perk, you can still attempt on second stage.
Oh, that'd be hype.
Because well, I like that because one, like it fits the perk I feel, and two, it means let's say you have deliverance. You could use deliverance, yeah, and that would be like a mini like deliverance doesn't need a buff, but you know it would stop that frustration point that deliverance kind of has. But you would have to bring a perk to do it, because I've heard this.
That's sort of like how people are bringing Wicked with Decisive and then like off the record.
Yeah.
And then they intentionally go down in the basement, they get hooked in the basement, rescue themselves. And then they have 2 anti-tunnel perks for the killer. Like you're dedicating a whole build for one effect, but I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Because then you have nothing else anywhere else.
Yeah, because I've said it before with Buckle Up for the People, which people haven't really talked about much over the past week, which is very strange. I guess people just got tired of complaining about it. I really don't have too much of an issue with it. I think it's annoying. I don't think it's as overpowered as some people say it is. But
I've never cared about it
what?
because that's a person following you when you're chasing. So that's two survivors doing basically nothing,
Yeah,
and they're interacting with the killer, and that's like the most fun thing ever.
my
Like I'd rather they do that than just sit on gens and fucking hide the whole game. Like
my
that's boring.
my,
But
my suggestion to fix it though would be make it so because Soul Guard exists. So my suggestion to changing it would be keep Soul Guard the exact same because the way Soul Guard works is if you're picked up, you get the endurance effect. Um, make it so buckle up works on the person picking you up, and Soul Guard works on you. So that's three perks that both people have to run to get the effect.
mm,
And because people can say I'm like dumb killer main. First off, welcome to a killer main podcast. Second off, um, survivor perks, like I don't think they should be like absolutely useless, but I think they need to be balanced around the idea of more like they have to synergize to be good to a degree. I think there's exceptions, obviously, but like and behavior's done a decent job with that. I think most of the time it's the case. Like head on its own isn't good.
well, like that's a similar thing like with Unbreakable. Like
Yeah.
Unbreakable on its own isn't good
Mm-hmm.
because usually the killer doesn't slug you. But then if you pair Unbreakable with like let's say Decisive,
Mm-hmm.
oh now you're cooking because the killer, if he slugs you, you pick yourself up. If he picks you up, you stun him.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That was like the whole old meta build. Before the infamous 6.1, you had Decisive on the ground with Unbreakable.
But yeah, I don't know, like Survivor, because I think people forget. Like, I mean, even behaviors said it. The game is a 1v1 v1 is it 4 1s?
I don't think they should have ever said that.
No, the game is a 4v1, and I think it should
It
be.
is a team-based cooperative game.
And I think the problem, and this goes into human psychology, but everyone thinks they're the main character of their own story and all that stuff. Um, and that's why I think tunneling feels so bad because tunneling is a weird thing. So let's say in theory you get tunneled and the killer runs and you run the killer for 5 gens. Um, the killer kills you, your team gets out, etc., etc. The killer lost that match because it was a 3 out. Your team won that match because it was a 3 out. You died and feel like you lost.
I don't know about you, but I feel like I've won. I looped the killer and I load my MMR. Win-win.
Yeah,
Easy clap.
right. But like from the feeling perspective, though, it's like you still
It feels
most
bad because he
yeah
died.
yeah
Most sane individuals feel bad. I feel good. LOL.
yeah. I don't care. I like it when my team wins. Like if I was able to run the killer for 5 gens somehow and my team got out, hooray. But most people, it's like they feel like they didn't get rewarded.
Like I'm the kind of like I use the perks No One Left Behind and Hope. All
Uh-huh.
the my build is Hope, No One Left Behind, Reassurance, Circle of Healing. I'm there to play for the team. Okay, like there could be two people hooked in the basement. The killer has no it. I don't give a fuck. I'm running in. Gates are open. I'm gonna rescue both of them and I'll take their place. Like I don't care. I just
Yeah.
want to get everybody else out.
Unless I have an archive. Speaking of which, to the Jane Romero I left on Hook the other day. I'm so sorry. It was an Oni and in game, and I have an archive to escape through the gates. I'm sorry. I could have got you, but sorry. um, it's yeah. I really do think it comes down. I think just people need to think more about the team mentality of the whole thing. Um, and it's just once again it just comes back with the MMR talk. It's like it's just a mentality thing.
It's crazy.
Hmm.
Dead by Daylight's the only team-based game I've ever played where your teammates literally throw the match because they don't like the opposing side's pick. Like imagine you're playing like Rainbow Six Siege or like League or something because you said you play League
Mm-hmm.
and like someone on the other team brings something, and then your teammates just lose their fucking mind and DC because you picked this operator, you picked this hero.
You
Like
see,
that's literally what like half the Survivor player base does.
I feel like
Is
this is
it's cringe.
this is how I know you don't play the games. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't happen that often, but it does happen.
Dude, yikes. Yeah, no, like I will admit, like I played League once and I was piss bored.
So, I haven't played League very much recently. I played like a couple matches like last month, but counter picking is a huge thing, especially for like top lane, which is like its own beat island basically. And if the enemy counter picks you, you basically can't do anything but kind of just wait it out. So a lot of players will be like, "Well, I don't even want to play this anymore." So they'll either DC or just straight up feed the enemy, just to
Damn,
spite
that's
you.
rough.
In Siege, it's
Even if it's like, like you've already counterpicked, right? So
yeah,
it ultimately shouldn't matter because now neither side's really benefiting from anything.
yeah, but
It's sort of like how in DBD where like, oh, you realize, oh, it's X killer. You can practice the counterplay, but you just don't want to because
I brought a
you don't
full
want to play against that killer.
I brought a full healing build and it's plague.
Dude, that's one of the reasons I absolutely despise Plague is because again, the perks I use, it's literally all like altruism and
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
It's like, well, what am I supposed to do? Like I can't I can't do my job, so it's like
I brought a full
I
flashlight build and they brought Lightborn.
Killer's Lightborn. Side note, they should add light sensitivity as like an accessibility option and then change Lightborn to make you recover faster from blinds.
I run Lightborn when I'm off stream. I do it sometimes on stream. Not because I'm like fuck these survivors and the flashlights. It's honestly because I'll be listening to music or a podcast or something and I just don't want to think about it. That's
Based.
that's really the only reason. It has nothing to do with like I must win. They brought 4 flashlights. Like I'll keep Lightborn on even if I don't see a flashlight. Like
The amount of times I've ran into a killer who has Lightborn and Franklin's and no one has any items is absolutely fucking hilarious.
yeah, it's just because I have a no brain singularity build I run sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Um, because it's the build I tell people to run like if they really don't know how to play singularity and think he's too complicated. He's not, by the way, but basically it's his iridescent add-on that shows auras when you place a camera. I run that with Stabiffle, Rapid, Brutal Strength, and Lightborn. So
And
it's literally just me play game. Like I have no thoughts in my brain. I'm just running in a straight line, no mind games, no nothing.
you're certified whole W enjoyer.
Yeah, yeah. As a
Yep.
killer. I mean that's off stream, on stream like and if I'm actually trying or something like that. Like but if I'm like just playing like the event or something just for blood points, like I don't
No,
care.
I get that.
Yeah.
Like I'll occasionally put on like never sleep pills and
Mhm.
sketch if I'm like piss bored and just want blood points. But I feel so bad when I do that on stream because it's like it's not interesting to watch because it's just a really slow frenzy
Mhm.
with a near guaranteed down. I only say near guaranteed because sometimes you do get people who are smart and they'll like body block, but
Yeah.
it's not very interesting to watch like a Never Sleep Pills Legion.
Yeah, I mean
So
it's like with it's funny with Scamper on Chucky. I talk about this a lot. There's like 5 Chucky mains. It's me, Ghost, Gore, and a couple others whose name I can't remember. In the content creation space, anyways. I'll fucking wait for the comments. Like, oh, I'm actually Chucky main too. Okay, all right.
I'm a Chucky main. I make content. Has 10 subs. I've never heard of them.
I,
True.
listen, ever since I've started doing this, ever since this podcast thing has gotten a little bit bigger, I have so many comments of people like, "Why didn't you ask me to come on?" Or go to their channel. They'll have no videos. They've never streamed. They don't have a Twitter. What? What? What do you want from me?
Who are you? Like, bro.
Like I don't even mean that in like a mean way. It's like, dude, there's
No,
no
absolutely
way I
not,
could
man.
ever find you. Um, but yeah, so like a lot of Chucky mains don't use Scamper unless like we have to. You know what I mean? It's like we know the mechanic isn't fun to play against or use. We know it's not fun to watch.
That's
Um,
like that's like when I played like the old Legion. Like I would not moonwalk people. I would still use Frank's big statement cold, but I wouldn't moonwalk you. I would
mhm.
just be annoying in the most direct way possible, but I wouldn't exploit deep wound to bleed you out. I would just run you down.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things. It's like with blight mains, especially before the add-on changes. It's like most of them were aware their killer was busted, right? like like there wasn't many blight mains who were like, no, blight's fine. He doesn't need any changes. He's perfectly balanced and okay.
Yeah, like
Um,
even Lilith was suggesting changes for Blade.
yeah, the ones I've noticed who like call for like, oh, the killer is fine when they're not is usually like the people who barely play them, or like the people who like don't make content and like just don't care and just want the wins with them, I guess. It,
It's the Blight PFP motherfuckers on the DBD forums with like 800 posts. They're like, no, Blight's fine actually. I lose all the time.
I lose all the time. It's not the flex you think it is, but okay.
It's like, bro, losing my mind, dude.
uh Man, DVD forums. I need to go back on
Dude,
there.
do not go there.
I
Do
I
not. You
I
are arguing with brick walls all the
I
time.
make content though. I gotta
I
read them.
I turn off notifications on the DVD forums. I leave a comment and I just don't ever look at the thread ever again.
I
I'm just like, I'm not checking anything.
I I I had to go on there once because the devs did a quote AMA. It wasn't really an AMA, but they were asking the community. This was like a month after Chucky came out, for like, how are you guys enjoying Chucky and what were some things you'd like change? So like I did a whole video where like I went through some of the suggestions people had. Listen, I have no vitriol to most people in this community, but man, some of the stuff I read was so stupid. I saw someone say Chucky shouldn't be third person. He shouldn't have stealth. He shouldn't have a slice and dice, and he shouldn't have scamper.
The survivors and the killer can kill. It is illegal.
Like, what? Okay, what do you want him to have?
I recently saw someone on the forums say that Legion shouldn't be able to see killer instinct on people who are on different elevations. So like
What?
if you're like on Gideon's, you could only see people like on the bottom floor if you're on the bottom. It's so dumb, man.
What does
It's
that
like
accomplish?
literally it just makes the killer shit for no reason. It's like, dude, literally why?
There's one
It's
change we actually missed when we were talking about changes. There actually is one change I do want to Legion. And I know they can do this. Uh so the killer instinct is based on your terror radius, isn't it?
it is.
Yeah. Get rid of that. Make it so it's based on your terror. Make it just a flat 32 meters regardless of your terror radius.
It'd be 40 actually.
Is it for? Oh, right. Yeah.
It's you get a larger terrorist in frenzy. I
Yeah.
agree with that because why the fuck does Doctor, whose power works on his terrorist, works past Oblivious, but Legions, who is programmed in the exact same way, doesn't work on people who are that's dumb.
Like it
There
wouldn't.
needs to be consistency.
It wouldn't even be overpowered in my like. I really don't think it would. Like, oh, he can hit you with a frenzy hit, and you can't see him coming.
You hear him though. He
You.
goes, like you could fucking hear him from like 20 meters away. Blood
Oh,
has asthma.
oh. What about the fourth hit, bro? You just saw three of your teammates get deep wounds. You know he's coming.
Run to a corner, run to a pallet. If you hear him coming, do Legion check in. If he hits you, stun him with the pallet, and then he's out of his frenzy. Like,
Like
you win.
it just limits builds. Like
No,
his
I agree.
hysteria.
Doesn't work.
Hysteria would be a decent perk on Legion if that change went through. It wouldn't be overpowered. It wouldn't be super good, but it would be an option.
I can't wait for that change to happen, and then I'll just play like Hex Plaything, Hysteria, and then like probably some other shit too. Like
Like,
maybe if it was like a fixed radius, I'd bring like Tinkerer and then Trail of Torment and just be a complete menace to society.
like,
I think that'd be pretty good.
and if it really is an issue, just make it so when they're like when get rid of the whole terror radius thing on like requirement, but like make it so like the survivors get some notification that Legion's like in feral frenzy from like across the map or something, like not a terror radius to like pinpoint it, but like just so they know and can be ready, I guess. Because like even Chucky has like when he's undetectable he laughs. Fun fact about that actually, when he's undetectable outside of Hidey Ho he laughs twice as much.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that
So
was
you can't like cheese his mechanics
yeah. Like
with stealth.
I mean, you still can. People don't pay attention, but um,
That's like with Legion's mixtapes. Like they'll stun you when you have Julie's mixtape, but like, dude, you could literally hear I have the add-on.
mhm.
Like, don't throw the fucking
All right,
pallet.
that one's a little bit different. All right, like fucking, I'm not out here being a composer. Like, um, but I mean, once again, though, after the first time, like, then it's their fault.
Oh yeah, I've had people who just keep throwing pallets, and then like they're streaming, right? So I look back at their volume, like, how does he have frenzy still? I don't understand. It's like, dude. And then they don't look at the end screen. They call you a hacker.
I was playing Unknown the other day, and someone was complaining. Uh, they thought I was hacking because and I quote, his cooldown shouldn't be that or isn't that short. Bro, it's 7 seconds. It's 7 seconds. Like, I was not hacking. It's just a very short cooldown. And I guarantee you, in Chase, you probably just weren't counting in your head, which is fine. But no, I was not fucking hacking because the cooldown was really short. I'm not hacking on Deathslinger because you got exposed because I hit you with a max range Eerie. Like it's just like like I get it. There's a lot of stuff in this game, but man, people forget so much.
No, like definitely. I mean, like I don't blame those players because there's a lot to learn in DBD. Like
Mm-hmm.
even if you have like 1,000 hours, you haven't even scratched the surface. There's so much shit in this game. But it's like there's some things that are very easily learnable if you just tried.
Well,
Like I've seen so many people hide in lockers against Legion with Killer Instinct. It's like how do you not know this?
oh, I was
Like
actually
it happens to you once, and then you're like, oh, he can see me. Oh, okay. Like
I was
like
I was actually gonna
oh
bring
man.
that up. I've had people accuse me of cheating when I play Legion because how did you know I was in the locker?
Or
There
they'll say, I have distortion. How'd you see me?
there are
It's like, oh my god, I
so
lost.
there are so many people like, and I really don't think it's a large majority, but like there is a minority of people who legitimately don't know Legion gets Killer Instinct, and it how how do you? That's like half the power.
First of all, it literally tells you in the loading screen, like when it's your first few times playing against the killer, it will literally say, when Legion's in frenzy, be careful of his terrorists, he can sense you, or something. It says
Mhm.
something like that. It's
Yeah,
like you literally have to not read it and then not listen to what anybody ever says, and also not hover over the killer's power and fucking read it to not know that. Like
yeah.
you have
It's
to try so hard to be that dumb. Like you actually have to.
speaking of Killer Instincts, by the way, I find it odd that we haven't had any perks that have anything to do with Killer Instinct. Like
It's that's an easy one. It
I
exists in the same way why um like like imagine distortion on the old Freddy aura reading. The reason why they created Killer Instinct was because in the same patch they're creating distortion. They didn't want Legion's power to be circumvented and basically hard countered by a survivor perk. So they created Killer Instinct so that whenever they would like hypothetically want to show a survivor aura, they would just show Killer Instinct instead. So it's supposed to be like a static part of the killer power that can never change. There's one killer in DBD that still uses auras in their power, and that's Trapper. When someone's in your bear trap, you can see their aura from across the map.
oh, I didn't know he was the only one. Yeah, you're right. Every other one requires an add-on.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're right.
yeah.
I don't like. I don't even mean one that like necessarily counters Killer Instinct. Just one that interacts with it somehow would be nice. I don't know. So I feel like we have too many perks that are just generalized. I really want more perks that are more specialized.
What I
Um.
think they really need to do is whenever you're as a survivor shown on Killer Instinct, your screen should change. Like you should have like a red vignette or something, or like there should be an icon or something that just tells the survivor,
Oh. Oh.
"Hey, you're being seen."
So
Like
so, so you want to nerf twins? I see how it is.
you know, someone would twist that shit, be like, "You're nerfing Freddy when he brings the Z block." It's like, wow, thanks, man. Yeah, it's like
Speaking of Z Block, make that shit base kit for the love of God. Like,
I think that
uh,
when Freddy like what they should do with Freddy is make sleep more more threatening. Like when someone falls asleep, they should be shown on Killer Instinct for like 4 seconds.
Listen,
Um,
if if Skull Merchant can apply, and no hate to Skull Merchant players, all right, Pixel, shut up. Um, um, if Skull Merchant can apply undetectable, hindered, and haste when she puts a drone down, basically, uh, I'm just saying that Freddy's Dream World applying oblivious and blindness would not be the end of the world.
it really wouldn't be. I mean, Freddy's dog water. I think Freddy like remove dream snares, give him
Mm-hmm.
only dream palettes,
Mm-hmm.
and then make it so that when you're asleep, you just have a constant 3% hindered. So now there's a reason to wake up.
Yeah.
That would buff his chase. It wouldn't be absurd. It wouldn't be like Wesker slowdown, but 3% that might get you a hit here and there.
I would want to test that before.
That yeah, no, definitely test that
Yeah.
shit. But I think
Yeah.
that would probably be enough to help him with longer loops. It
Mm-hmm.
probably wouldn't do much with short loops, which I mean, to be fair, aren't really a deal anyway. You just mind game that.
I have
But
I have 3 changes for Freddy. Make Dream Snares and Dream Palettes toggled instead of an add-on. I do not understand why that's not a thing. Honestly, I never will. Um, make it so when you're asleep, there's like a timer, a secondary timer that constantly applies effects. Um, like let's say like the first time you fall asleep, you get oblivious, and the second time it's like oblivious and blindness, and like it keeps going. Um, that way, like you're encouraged to go wake yourself up sooner, rather than like waiting last minute. And on top of that, it would kind of be like the plague situation where like you have to like think about it, like, do I want to like just deal with the status effects? And then my last change, and this is once again, this is just let Freddy teleport to dungeons. Like, would there really be a harm in that?
no, I mean like I think part of the reason they don't is like they're probably wondering like why would you ever want to teleport to a completed gen?
In the in game?
Yeah, that's pretty much the only reason though, right? Is once the exit gates are powered.
Sometimes, but like, what if you have like a totem near one and you know they're going for it? Like that. Like, I don't think it would be like a super major buff, but like, I don't see a problem with it.
You could probably then change his power so you make dream snares something he can teleport to. So you could put a dream snare near like a pallet
Mm,
or to like near a totem, for instance, what you were
yeah,
describing, and then you
yeah,
can teleport to that.
yeah,
They could change him. They could change him a little bit, but keep the essence of how he works more or less intact.
yeah. Also, add voice.
There's things they can do with Freddy.
Yeah, add voice lines. That's another thing.
Yeah, whenever he gets stunned, bitch, just
I
just
think,
nothing else. That's all he says on repeat.
yeah. I said it before. That's like half the fun of playing Chucky in Singularity for me. It's just the voice lines.
It
Um,
gives characters a lot of personality. I
there's
like it.
a yeah, there's a thing I call the Lucio effect. Which it was popularized because people were talking about how Lucio was really good in Overwatch for a while when the game first came out, and part of the reason like people said he was so good, he's the only character in the game that gives your team morale. Like, you load into a match as Lucio and he's just like, look at this team, we're gonna do great. It's like, that's, yes, thank you. Like, it's such a small thing, but like it goes a long way.
That's cool.
I know, like, it's so stupid, like, to like when I say it out loud, but like it's just like
No,
hearing,
like it's hype.
yeah, and like hearing like you get blinded by a flashlight, it's like, oh, that sucks. But when you get blinded by a flashlight with Chucky and he goes, I'm gonna break that flashlight over your fucking head, it's like, dude, he said the thing I was gonna say. I'm just smiling now. Like, I'm not even mad anymore. like, like it's just little shit like that. Um, even with
I wish you could actually hear Nicolas Cage talk as Killer and
yeah,
as other survivors.
yeah, I think
Because
it's a
that'd be so hype. You're just doing a gen, you just hear him running. He's like da, stop. You're like, what the fuck is blood yapping about?
even like Alan Wake cusses so much, and I love it. As someone who I don't know if you've noticed, like I'm holding it back a bit, but I cuss like a sailor.
Oh yeah, no, I mean I'm doing more or less the same as
Yeah,
well, just
yeah.
for the sake of your content.
Oh, it, it's
Not
it,
trying to get
it,
you the yellow
it
monetization symbol here, but
it's fine. After the first 7 seconds, I don't care. Especially with how long,
LOL.
especially with how long these are. But the yeah, like Alan Wake cussing is like I was playing. I posted a clip on Twitter the other day. I was playing. I loaded into what was it, Temple, and the blight had, it was a blight and they had lethal and they spawned literally 20 meters away from me. so, so I just load up the match. I'm not even moving yet, and I see a blight rushing past me to get his first rush. And me and Alan says fuck, and I say fuck at the literal exact same time, and it was so good. Like voice lines just add so much character. But I especially think survivors need more of them, more so than
Yeah,
killers.
they should retroactively go back and update some characters.
Yeah, I mean,
Like Michaela, for instance, like Michaela and Sable, they should interact with each other in
mhm,
the lobbies at the very least, since they know each other.
yeah,
Like any character that knows another character should mention something.
yeah, but it's a good. One weird thing is like, I'm very surprised Skull Merchant doesn't have any voice lines.
Yeah, she was released in the era where characters were starting to talk.
Yeah, and I feel like because a lot of people have a problem with like her character design and whatnot. I feel like voice lines would have helped that slightly because like we don't really get a show of her personality that much because like her Mori is very generic. Her A lot of her animations are pretty generic. Um, but yeah, I think yeah, just like little voice lines would have helped with that. I don't know. Like
That and like her base cosmetic not being dog water.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
I get what they were going for. It doesn't make it good. Um,
I'm willing to bet that it doesn't really matter what they do with Skill Merchant. There's always going to be a large group of people who will have
they could
basically like PTSD for Skill
they
Merchant,
could
and they'll just never like the
literally
character.
make her Billy and people would still be mad.
It's the same thing with Legion. Like Legion's no longer an exploitable, uncounterable threat, but there's still a small minority of players who are just like, I hate Legion because of how he released.
Yeah, I mean they could nerf Scamper on Chucky in like next week and people would still be mad for like years.
Yeah.
Be like all you do is
No, it's very strange behavior from people. But I mean, there's not really much you can do about it. It's just the way people are.
it's funny because it's like a really only Dead by Daylight thing to a degree. Like it happens a little bit in other games, but not as much as this game. Um, where like there's like this PTSD effect from like killers how they were in the past. Um,
Yeah.
like there's people who like in like League will like reminisce quote unquote about remember when this character was like so busted and they could do this, but like no one's mad about it. They're just like bringing it up in conversation
Yeah, or like ACOG sites
on.
for like certain operators in Siege.
They brought that back.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
really? I haven't
yeah,
played Siege in years,
yeah,
so I have no idea
yeah.
what's going on nowadays.
They got rid of the Ash ACOG a long time ago. They brought it back, I think, like last week actually.
Oh no, we lost. I
Well,
don't even play the game anymore, but lost.
they gave it to a lot of characters though, so that was their way of countering it, which I think is fine. I think at the end of the day, if you need a 2x zoom to be good, uh, like it's honestly a skill issue to a degree, but I don't know. Siege's balance is weird too. Plus, they're at like they just added like a new character called Deimos, who's like, do you remember Kavera at all?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, the assassin.
yeah, he's like Kavera on attack.
How does that fucking work?
So he's like a mercenary who like can basically take a bounty on one of the defenders, and he gets their position, but he can only use his secondary. So like
Uh,
he constantly gets like pings of that one person's position, but he can only use his secondary weapon.
oh, isn't that just Lion, but on one person?
Yeah, pretty much.
That sounds shit, but all right.
It's decently okay. I'm making it sound worse than it is, but it's
You know that's like when behavior releases a killer or a perk that is basically just another killer or perk, but worse or better.
I
Like
mean,
like for instance, like strength in shadows, like that's leaps and bounds better than self care.
uh-huh.
Like it's literally the same thing but better.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, you could almost make the comparison to old Circle of Healing. It's like, oh, you're healing in radius of boon, you're healing in radius of basement. Like it's like you could make the same comparison there more or less.
Don't give people that idea.
I will give people that idea.
I do not want people to start playing on Strength and Shadows. God damn it.
I think Circle of Healing is overnerfed. It should work
Oh,
with medkits. It
well,
should let
yeah.
I mean like healing other people, by the way.
I
Like
think
you should
you guys go ahead.
like if Will Make It works with like a medkit heal on someone else, Circle of Healing should work the exact same way.
Yeah. I think getting rid of the self care part was fine. But yeah, it should work with medkits. I think like I've said this for a while. I find it like the last boon we got was Allen's, and it's not even that good. Let it show totems, by the way. Okay. Anyways, uh, yeah, I suggested that, and someone said it would be overpowered.
Hmm. It's weird.
If a boon show, if you having to place a boon to see where totems are on the map is overpowered, maps are overpowered.
I think people are just afraid of strong perks.
Maybe, but like I don't even think it would be that strong. The reason I suggested that though, because like what it does now is it shows generators and chests, which isn't bad, but like bringing a whole perk for it kind of sucks.
You could just bring a map and have the same effect.
Yeah. But like the reason why I think it should show totems is because it has a secondary effect. It's the only boon with a secondary effect, which I think more. I think all the boons should have a secondary effect. Um, but it has a secondary effect where if you have a boon up and you're lighting another boon, you do it faster.
They need to buff that. It's like
It's
10%. They
it
should buff that to like 25% speed or
yeah.
even 20.
Yeah. I wouldn't be opposed to that, but like
Either that or just make it so you always bless totems faster with that perk.
yeah.
Just give people a reason to use it because right now it's actually worse than Dark Theory, which is comical.
Yeah, but my thought process though with making it letting you see totems is you know where to go to replace it.
Yeah, yeah, and you might even find like a hex perk, for instance.
Yeah, but that was the
By
thing
doing
people were
that,
telling me would make it overpowered. It's like it would completely kill hexes.
hexes are dead anyway. People literally spawn next to them,
Yeah,
bro.
like
Like unless you're on swamp, but like that's literally two maps. Like hexes spawn in the open, they spawn next to survivor spawns. Like hexes just need like an update in general.
my
But
my suggestion for hexes is they shouldn't be you know how what's that face the darkness.
yeah,
I maybe I don't know if this would be overpowered or not, but I don't think hexes should be lit until they activate.
no,
So
I think that's a good idea.
like except for haunted grounds. I think haunted grounds would be the exception, but I think that's fine. That would kind of cuz like let's say a survivor spawns directly on top of haunted grounds and they do it. Well, that's their own fault. You know what I mean? Like but like for like devour, like it doesn't light until you get one token. Like would that really be that busted?
No, it wouldn't. I mean, people have been saying to do that for like Huntress Lullaby for ages. It's
Yeah,
just to
yeah,
make it
same
only light when you actually have a token.
yeah,
Because there's been a lot of times when I brought Lullaby for like a request build and it gets cleansed before I even hook anybody.
yeah, or like crowd control. It only lights once someone fast vaults a window. Like that, I don't think that would be broken at all. Um, I can't think of it other than haunted grounds. I can't think of one that would be an exception or need to be an exception. Even like
Maybe no, Ruin would only light after a gen starts regressing.
yeah.
So
So after someone, let's go of a gen.
yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah, like I think that's perfectly a okay. And I think that would stop the problem of people spawning directly on top of totem because if at that point like they notice it's up and they want to go out of their way to cleanse it, I think that's fine. Like they still have to go look for it. It's not like they spawn directly on top of a lit totem and are like, you know what, I'm just gonna do this because it's here. Because I think there's
I wish totems and now the invocation.
mhm.
I wish those were used more often by people because it adds way more depth to the game.
Yeah, I think invocations are going to become. I think once they add more, they'll be better. I think
I think Invocation's gonna be like the teamwork perks where it'll just be the one and done and they'll just never do it again.
I hope not. I fucking hope not. It's such a
It'd make
cool
me really
idea.
sad. It's a cool idea. Like think about boons and how long it took them to add another boon.
Yeah.
Like we just like with Alan, we finally got a fifth boon,
For
but
Scourge
like
hooks. We still haven't gotten a Scourge hook since what, Skull? No, she didn't even have
uh
one.
no, it would have been a rework to Hangman's. But I don't know if you would count that
Yeah.
because Hangman's is Blood Echo should, by the way, 100% be a Scourge hook. Blood
Yes.
Echo has two problems. The first is that it only works on killers who can injure people, so literally two of like 30,
Mm-hmm.
like whatever. And the second problem is its cooldown. So let's make Blood Echo
A Scourge hook.
not have a cooldown. It's now a Scourge hook and make it so that whenever you hook someone on a Scourge hook, everybody becomes exhausted for 40 seconds. So 5 seconds less than it does now.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're injured, they also get hemorrhage until healed.
Yeah, I like that.
Boom, there you go.
Yeah.
Now it's useful on every killer, and it's not overpowered because it requires a Scourge hook. So if survivors repeatedly see you go into specific hooks, they can sabo it. Like there's just counterplay for that. And exhausted only does anything if you have exhaustion perks. So
Yeah.
just don't rely on exhaustion perks, and it's not a problem.
Yeah, stop relying on sprint burst and life all the time, please.
That's
Please.
that's
I
that's
fucking
that's what I
beg you.
say whenever people give up against Legion with like sprint bursts. Like, dude, simply do not rely on sprint bursts to outplay the killer.
Yeah.
Just me
I
when I bring Blood Echo Mindbreaker, I just want the chain hits.
I
Please let
I,
me.
I run overcome. You think I'm out here complaining about Legion?
Oh my! You just get hit. You know, I've lost fifth hits to overcome Andes because like I have the muscle memory to like lunge immediately after my cooldown to like hit the person, and I've hit someone, lunged, and then missed because they have overcome and they keep sprinting. Like fuck.
Like, I don't want to say overcome's underrated because I don't think it is. I just think it's overlooked. I've said this for so long. The problem with overcome is you have to be healthy and not exhausted. And there's like 10 killers that completely counter it. but
Mm-hmm.
but the killers in situations it works in though are fucking amazing. It's yeah, it counters Chucky, it counters Wesker, it counters like there's like any killer that doesn't straight up insta down you or can be across the map in like a tenth of a second. Cough, cough, nurse and blight. It completely shuts down sometimes. Like like they're still gonna catch up to you eventually, but they have to commit.
Yeah, they have to really go out of their way to do it.
Yeah, like it's one of those weird things because it's also like I hear people complain like I saw a complaint about when someone said like 6.1 when they did the change to survivor speed
That
um
didn't matter.
after a
Point 0.2
hit.
seconds is
Well, even
doesn't
then,
matter.
it's like if you're really complaining about this, run overcome. Like it just brings that back for you if you're really dependent on that. If you were, anyways, I
I
don't know.
feel like I might get some shit for this. They should revert the speed change they made to Survivor. They should revert that back to 2 seconds, and then give killers another 0.2 seconds off the attack cooldown. Lower it to 2.5 because it's maybe an OCD thing, but 2.7 is a stupid fucking number. I'm sorry, I don't know why they picked 2.7.
I
Make
would
it 2.5, and then damaging generators takes 2 seconds again instead of 1.8, and then breaking pallets and walls should just take a flat 2 seconds as well.
I think I would be fine with that. I was before you said the minus to the wipe. I was like no because Chucky would be miserable. Chucky would be fucking miserable. Here's the thing. I thought was really funny with that too. Made
Yeah, no, I get you're just
yeah
holding it out and
yeah.
you're still accomplishing what they tried to nerf basically.
Mm-hmm.
That's hilarious.
And it's really funny too because it gets Pavlonian towards the middle of the game because they're like, oh, this Deathslinger doesn't shoot, so they stop dodging and then I start shooting.
Oh my god, you're a menace.
I love doing shit like that. Also, I will say there is one change to Deathslinger they do need to do. Uh, because this was because he could insta ADS pretty much back in the day. When he has his sights on you, you get a sound notification.
Mm-hmm.
That shit needs to go away. I really do think that needs to go away.
Hmm.
Because it's not instant
It's
anymore.
it's it's tied to his terror radius as well, by the way. So if you have no terror radius, there's no sound.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
It
uh,
feels a little redundant in that case because,
well,
like, why even bother if you're not even going to be able to hear it?
it's one of those things where it's like I'll be chasing a survivor and I'll go for a shot and they're not even looking behind them and they instantly dodge. And
What I
it's
think they should do with Slinger is revert his terror radius, first of all, buff his gun stats, make him a little more fluid to play. And then this might like irk some people, but to like streamline him and like make him on par with other ranged killers, he should have a 40-meter lullaby, I think, as well.
he's the only range killer with that one,
Um,
isn't
he is.
he?
Oh,
Even
even fucking Onryo for some
yeah,
reason
I
has
was
a
gonna say Sadako has
lullaby,
one.
but like yeah, no, I think he should have a lullaby and then buff his gun stats as well. So basically he just becomes a normal ranged killer,
I think
and I think that'd be fine.
I think the projectile speed needs to be faster on him.
I think you should definitely have an add-on that does that
Yeah,
because
because
Huntress has a
yeah,
couple of those.
yeah,
I
Huntress
think
has
that'd
a
be
couple
fine.
of them, and I because there's a lot of times I'll miss a shot because like it was like right at the edge.
Hmm.
And like it's very easy to dodge. And someone could argue, well, don't go for long range shots. Yeah, but those are
But
cool.
that's yeah, that's the fun part is his
Um,
longer range shots because that makes full use of his power.
yeah, and I think I don't know. Deathslinger's a weird one because like he's one of those killers, kind of like Clown. I feel where like they're not that great, but you find creators and people who main them who make them look like unstoppable machines.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, on the top of a like Clown, I don't think Clown's actually like that bad. Like
no,
he has one of the best anti-loop powers in the entire game. It's just that he's easily counterplayed by just dropping the pallet and then he can't fucking do anything
I mean,
unless he wants to spend like 30 seconds trying to like blow us you. But
if Aranad can
it's every
make a
killer.
130-page guide on how to play a killer, they're not bad. Like,
I think it's like 200 pages now. It's kind of a meme to be
yeah,
honest, but
I know. Fucking Brand just made one for Xenomorph. It's 230.
I mean that makes sense because there's a good deal of control over your tail attack.
Well, a lot of Aranad's is going over each loop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
I guess that's
yeah,
valid.
where to place your bottles on each and every loop is what a lot of his guide is. Um,
If I ever did a guide like that for Legion V, Survivor drops pallet, you press M2 and then press space and then press M1 did. Easy clap.
Bran always jokes with me about because I'm making my Chucky guide. I'm waiting until after a little bit until just in case they make more changes.
Mhm.
But he's always like, so it's just gonna be 2 hours of you telling people to hit spacebar. Yeah, yeah.
Literally.
You know what?
Spacebar, bro.
You know what? You know what? You just gave me an April Fool's video to make. All right. It's yeah. I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's like yeah, every killer has depth, and sometimes people get very reductive with it, and I think that's I think it's a massive problem in the community sometimes. Like I said, like you just said, Clown isn't as bad as people say. I don't think he is at all. I don't think he's like super great or anything, but you know, like if some people can make him look good, that means he's decent at the least. Like he's not S tier, but like
That's like me with Legion. Like there's a big difference like between how I play Legion and my gameplay versus like little Jimmy who just got,
mhm.
like his first ever frenzy down. There's a noticeable difference.
Yeah, and you know, obviously, there's the problem with like tier lists and whatever. A lot of people don't take into add-ons into account or perks for obvious reasons. Because if you did, tier lists would basically mean nothing. Because
Oh, the
how the
I think one of the reasons I don't take add-ons into account in tier lists is just because of Myers.
yes, I think it's the
Like,
big
how the fuck do
reasons.
you rank Myers? Like, either he has Tombstone or he doesn't. If he
Yeah,
doesn't, then he's shit. If he has it, he's OP. Like, you can't rank that.
yeah, it's just yeah. That's really what it comes down. Because someone was asking me because I did a very bad killer tier list a couple months ago, And someone asked me, it's like, why don't most people take add-ons into account? Because you guys just saw me struggle for 10 minutes thinking back and forth on where to put Myers. That's why. That's legitimately the main reason why. It's Myers. He's not
Myers is problematic.
he's not the only one, but he's the main one. Because like Clown is a good example. I think Clown, like, cigar box on Clown immediately shoots him up, in my opinion.
Impaling wire for Cinnabite. That
Yeah.
shit's. I think that's busted. Honestly, it should not exist.
Which one is that? Is
It,
that the?
it's the one where if you break a chain with the environment, it summons an extra chain.
Oh.
So you just basically can't get away from him.
Mm.
It's actually disgusting.
Or Engineer Fang. I think that. Well, that's not true.
Nah, that's dog water.
Yeah.
That got nerfed in the ground.
Old.
Like, oh, you do a hell state, but then you only have one chain.
Yeah.
That locks onto them.
Old Engineer Fang was
Yeah, that was disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, even like Legion doesn't really have any add-ons that, like, I mean,
Legion has nothing that makes him like quote unquote OP. He has stuff that makes him better.
yeah.
Eerie Button is the obvious one.
Mm-hmm.
If you do a chase build, then BFFs is actually kind of good for endgame.
Mm-hmm.
But like nothing, like he has stuff for game slowdown, but he doesn't have anything to like help him end chases quickly or anything.
Yeah, and then,
other than Eerie Button.
Yeah, and then like Plague has no one really brings it up, but her Eerie that gives her aura reading is really good.
It used to be even better. It used to be 5 seconds. They nerfed it to 3. It's cracked.
Yeah,
Black Incense, and then also the other Eerie that gives you purge every time they do a gen.
Mm-hmm.
That's disgusting. It's really strong.
They're really good. No one ever talks about them. Like, I don't think they're busted. I think that's probably why no one talks about them. But yeah, they're really fucking good. Oh, distortion counters it. Yeah, if you're on the other side of the map though, it just eats through the stacks. Like,
that's true, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like
it's random when it procs because it procs whenever you vomit, and vomiting is inconsistent. It can happen every 2 seconds or it can happen every 10. It's completely random.
Yeah. Speaking of tier lists, and you mentioned a little bit earlier, where would you rank Legion on a tier list?
C or B tier.
C or B.
Depends on the map.
Yeah.
Depends on the add-ons, and it depends on what kind of survivors you're playing against. If you're playing against SEAL Team 6 who stay injured, split up, and body block for each other, then he's like the worst killer in the game. But if you play against like literal like children who just got off of preschool, then like he's S tier. So it's like he's I'd say on average he's C or B. Like it depends how you play him. It depends on what you're doing with him. But
I always ask
C or B.
I always ask people this because sometimes saying their C doesn't really do anything. Is there a killer you would put directly above them and under them if you could?
Directly above Wraith.
Wraith, okay. Directly under?
Directly under. Oof.
If you can't think of anything, it's fine. I just
either like maybe Doctor.
Okay.
Or like Trickster, maybe, possibly Clown.
Even with the buffs to Doctor?
Yeah, I think so. Because Doctor, he's only ever focusing on one person, right?
Yeah.
So Legion one-ups him in terms of slowdown and the whole macro play.
Yeah. Speaking of the Doctor buffs, oh my god, they're so good. They're so good.
It feels better. It definitely feels better.
It feels so
I still have to use discipline every game though, but I don't feel like I need to use range anymore. I feel like that extra meter actually kind of helps.
Yeah, it was such a small change, but it's like the Sadako changes. Like, good or bad, she feels so good to play now.
I think that's honestly more important than just inherent strength. It's just making things feel better to play.
Yeah, even the pig changes, like,
she's very smooth.
She's very smooth now, and it's just like that. I don't care if I'm losing, if the character doesn't feel clunky. That's the big reason people don't play Larry, and the big reason people don't play Twins. They're
I think one of the reasons I don't like to play Unknown is when you completely cancel your ability, or when you fire, you get hit with this awkward like sudden drop in speed. If they smooth that out, like they can still keep the drop in speed, but if they make it less like obnoxious, I probably wouldn't mind playing them.
Like not an
but instant, it just feels very jarring.
Yeah, like not an instant drop, but more like a gradual
drop. Yeah, gradual dip. Like what they did with Hillbilly, where when you cancel your saw, you slow, but then you accelerate.
Yeah.
Like they should do that. They should also actually do that with Legion.
Yeah, that would.
Instead of being slowed for the full 3 seconds, you slow down and then you start to speed up.
What
You
if
could do
they?
that.
What if they? I'm gonna hate you for saying this. What if they brought it back to 5, but they made it a gradual slowdown?
Oh fuck no. Absolutely not.
um.
God no.
Okay. This one. Okay, I know it's Legion, but and you suggested Legion for new players, and I would too. I would say Legion and Trapper are probably the two characters I would suggest the most for new players. Because I think they both teach you the main mechanics of the game a little bit more so Legion than anything. But any tips for new Legion players? And this would be like not someone who just booted up the game and sees that they have the most cosmetics in the game is like I like this killer. Um, but someone who's got like 400 hours or something like that is like, you know what, I like this killer. I'm gonna play him.
Use your power. There's lots of legions who they'll get everyone injured and they just stop using frenzy.
Mm-hmm.
Like frenzy was shifted from being like a purely game delay ability to being a bit of a snowball ability. Like if you can get a frenzy down, you down someone and there's like another person right in front of you, just slug. Just go after that other person and that's half the team down, the other half is injured. Like what the fuck are they gonna do? Like
Yeah,
that's a lot of pressure. So use your power, snowball with them. That's probably what I would suggest.
yeah. I would also say don't be afraid to use the power just for info sometimes. Um, like obviously chase the person you're going for, but like if you literally haven't seen like two people the whole match for whatever reason, like don't be afraid to like get the killer instinct to try to find them so you can get more pressure on that side of the map.
Yeah.
If need
And
be.
I mean, like, if someone's brand new to Legion, like, not like they've already played them for a
Yeah.
couple
Mm-hmm.
100 hours, but if they're like brand new, do not use any of the chain hit add-ons. Don't use pills, don't use bracelet, don't use list or sketch. Don't use any of that because it fucks with your like your muscle memory
Mm-hmm.
and it messes with your timing for everything. Just play like vanilla Legion. You can bring like the recharge speed and you can bring like some of the other stuff like whatever like
Would
filthy blade
would
or
you
sunglasses.
would you recommend Eerie Pin for new players?
No, because
Okay.
then you change how you play.
Okay.
You go from being a snowball and pressure to being just a zoning killer with your
Yeah,
palette fault.
I agree. I was just curious. Um, all right, and the big one, and everyone pretty much knows this, but at least I thought everyone did. Tips for playing against Legion.
Split up. Don't heal unless it's either really quickly or he is putting you in a lose-lose situation, like what I mentioned, like two people are injured, people are down. Like that's when you heal,
Mm-hmm.
because then that's you can win the game. So situationally heal and heal quickly. Split up. If you can't split up and you have deep wound, don't mend and instead body block for other people who have not been hit yet, so Legion can't hit them. If you get hit at a window or a pallet that's been dropped and Legion's trying to vault it, just spam vault in their face, forces them to end their power because they can't vault.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the counterplay for Legion is to protect your teammates, basically.
Okay.
You're probably gonna get hit by Frenzy for like the first or second hit.
Mm-hmm.
So accept that and just take the hit and then try and do other things to help your other teammates not get hit.
Uh, Speaking of the spamming vault, does any means stop the vault? Do you know?
No,
It doesn't.
no,
Okay.
any means necessary is overridden by a frenzy vault.
Okay.
It used to. It used to stop Legion from being able to do that, but
Yeah.
they changed that.
Yeah. They changed that with Chucky, I think.
Yeah, they made the same mistake with Chucky on the PTB.
Yeah. I hate that they did it. It's such a niche thing. I don't understand. Like it's not like I was encountering it every match, and I thought it was a nice little bit of counterplay, quote unquote.
Quote unquote counterplay, yeah.
But yeah, I just thought it was a nice little interaction.
I don't think I would hate if they made it so it just didn't work, but
Because
at
I
the
mean,
same time, like I don't think I care, to be honest.
mm-hmm. It's just
Like if I've already hit the person and they're resetting a pallet, like okay, I'll just cancel.
yeah, it's like they're stuck in place. There's a lot of. Oh, I gotta take a nap after this.
No coffee.
No, yeah, I didn't. Normally, I go to the store and get an energy drink in the morning. I didn't have a chance. Um, so I'm drinking my zero sugar Dr Pepper right now. Not sponsored. Would love to be. Um, yeah, like I don't know, like interesting interactions like that. I think we need more. Yep. Um, okay, and you said you don't really read the lore, but do you have thoughts on Legion's lore at all?
No thoughts, head empty.
No
The
thoughts.
most amount of lore stuff I did was for Pixel Bush because he was doing
Yeah.
like a Legion
Hmm.
entry and he won my opinion, so I read up on some things just to kind of familiarize myself, and I thought I did an okay job explaining some things, but
Yeah, you did
I'm
fine.
not a lore guy. I don't really care about lore, to be honest. I care
Fair,
about gameplay.
fair. I mean, I think it's more flavor than anything. Like I'm glad it's there and I enjoy it, but like if it wasn't, it's not that big of a deal at the end of the day.
Yeah. Like
Um,
I've read the comic books for Legion.
mhm.
And that's cool. But I don't like sit in game reading the character info screen. That's never been something for me.
Yeah. Uh, maps. Would you say Legion is extremely map dependent?
Yes. There's like 5 maps that are good for Legion, and then everything else is either too big or is just really bad for like M1 killers in general. I actually have like a graphic somewhere on my computer where I literally have like like resources to like show people like what the best maps are. I
Mhm.
found it actually. I'll send that to you.
Yeah, I'll
But
put it in
those
the chat.
those those are the maps that are good for Legion. Everything else is like just mid or shit. Like that's literally it.
There
So it's
is there anyone you hate like more than any of the others?
both RPDs are pretty bad. I
Okay.
hate that. I think probably the worst right now is there are 2 Red Forest maps. Not
Mhm.
even because like they're big or anything, but because there's a bug with Legion where if you're playing at 120 FPS, you can't vault the shack window in Frenzy. You'll just get stuck.
Mm.
So you have to play at a lower frame rate to vault that. So if you're used to like 120, you have to drop it or just never vault that window.
Yeah, yeah. uh, there's actually a bug with Singularity right now that a lot of people don't know about because no one plays them. Where if you EMP, if an EMP happens, you hear the sound
Oh,
until the EMP is gone.
oh shit. Yeah, good luck getting that fixed. That's
Yeah,
no one plays them, so they're not
yeah.
gonna fix that.
Well, a lot of people are a lot of Larry players are like, listen, I'm not playing this killer until they fix it. I was playing
Yeah,
him
they're
last
gonna be
night.
waiting a while.
Yeah, I have like 90 flans on him, so like I was playing him last night on stream, and yeah, it was so great. You're just hearing bzzz for like the entire match.
That's rough. Yeah, no, like yeah, it's rough, but like yeah, Singularity does not keep behaviors lights on, so they don't care.
No, he could. God, he's not even bad. That's the sad thing. Um, God, Singularity is such a enigma in this game. Like he's not bad, he's not great. He's just I've said before, I feel like Singularity mains shot themselves in the foot with that killer because not all of them, and it's not even like the big ones, but like there are some Larry mains who make him out to be like you have to have a degree in physics to play this killer, and it's like no, you don't. And all you guys are doing is making it so no one ever wants to play them.
I feel like if you bring the Soma photo, he's like consistently like S or not S, but A tier.
Yeah,
Because then his chase gets quite a bit better, and then you use rapid brutality on top of that, and then
yeah.
you're zooming.
A lot of Larry players don't like bringing Soma photo.
Oh, I
Um,
think it should honestly just be base kit. Not
yeah,
gonna lie.
I think like half of it should be base kit. I think we need to do that with a lot of killers where like a certain thing is base kit, make it half, and then the add-on adds the other half. Because I mean they do that with a lot of eventually with a lot of killers at some point. Um, but yeah, Larry is he's clunky and he's not like he's a chase killer, but not really. And like people like, but once again, people think you have to like be super like smart and think like 10 moves ahead. You really don't. Like it's just place cameras around and kind of hope. And if the survivor goes near him, just pack him. And then I don't know. And then also, I think another problem with him is fun fact. You know how you can shoot your M2 straight at them if they have the bipod on them?
Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't say that in the power description.
Hmm.
So unless
So
so
so it
unless
doesn't even say that you could just aim and teleport to someone. You have
yeah.
to it thinks that you have to use it through the camera.
Mm-hmm. So if you don't watch people play Larry, which I wouldn't blame you, most people don't, and you don't already know, uh, you're in your mind you're like, well, you always had to place a camera, so it probably feels clunkier than it needs to.
Damn. No, that's oof. Yeah, they should probably tweak the power description on that a little bit.
Yeah, there's another thing. I actually learned this about Wesker and Singularity. There's actually a listed buff in their with their powers that I didn't know about. Did you know that? So when Singularity has people hit with a bipod,
His
uh,
overclock is extended.
yeah, I didn't know
Yep.
that until I brought someone on to talk about the killer because it
Yep.
doesn't say it anywhere. How why the fuck would I know that?
It's a hidden buff. Yeah, Wesker's recharge is
Mm-hmm.
exponentially faster for each person infected. That's why I always use the recharge speed with the conference device. I get people mass infected and I recharge my power in like 2 seconds. So I could just constantly dash.
Yeah, it's why are those things not listed?
I don't know. Maybe it was like something that they did last minute and they didn't have time to add it. I think there's a tooltip for Oni. I don't know if it's still in the game. It definitely used to be. But there was a tooltip for Oni back in the day where it said that if you were demon dashing, your power drained faster. So I guess at some point they removed that so that his power always lasted 45 seconds. But there was a tooltip that basically just said that whenever you were running around with your power, it would go down quicker.
Doesn't he have add-ons that affect that?
Nope.
Oh, I thought he
No, it's just
did.
an unused mechanic.
Oh, yeah.
The only add-ons he has that affect the timer are the ones that affect like the penalty for
Mm.
when you down someone.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and then there's like Oni's passive gain.
Oh, that either needs to be removed or buffed to be like actually useful.
I think the idea was just in case like you can literally never hit a survivor.
But it doesn't even fully charge, so what's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point?
Yeah. Like I wouldn't want to buff it at all. Like I think Oni's perfectly designed. I've said this so many times. Um yeah, so I wouldn't want to buff it at all. I think it would be nuts if he could just like wait long enough. Uh
No, he should definitely have to hit somebody. They should probably just remove it and then give him like a small speed buff for when he's absorbing
mhm.
like blood orbs, so it
Yeah.
doesn't slow down as much.
Yeah.
But
Or make it an eerie.
making an area so that your power passively fills over like 60 seconds.
Yeah, that would be fucking. Actually,
God,
no, I
that
don't.
would
I don't know. Just make.
maybe don't do that.
Yeah, don't.
Maybe don't do that.
Yeah, maybe make it like a minute or not a minute, but like 2 minutes, something. I don't know. Behavior can work out the numbers. That's their job. We're just here to give them.
An eerie add-on that shows you the auras of all survivors for 5 seconds when you start your blood fury.
That would be so fucking busted. That would be so fucking.
That was Lethal Pursuer. Oh, GG, easy baby killer. Oh
Oh
my
my
god,
god,
bro.
I already run Discordant's fucking Tinkerer on him for that exact purpose. Like don't make it worse.
That would be so good.
Oh my god. Behavior. I say this all the time. Listen, as a content creator who discusses your game, I love it when you guys listen to us. I do. Sometimes don't listen to us, please.
Sometimes we're just yapping.
Oh man. Uh, all right. Just a little bit longer. Do you have any stats on Legion?
I'm number one worldwide for
On
downs and deep wound.
is that the track stat downs and deep wound?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just whenever you down somebody who has the deep wound status effect.
Wait, does that count? Does that count like borrowed time and all the other
Yeah, it
stuff?
does. Yeah.
That is okay.
But I'm apparently the number one on that leaderboard.
That's what? How much is it? Do you know offhands?
It's like
You don't have to look it up.
33,000, I think, last time I checked. 34,000.
Jesus.
30, yeah, we'll just say 33,000
I'm.
downs in deep one.
I mean, like Legion at least has one that's like It makes sense.
Legion has an achievement where it was like down 20 people in Deep Wound. They changed that achievement because it previously was like down 20 survivors with Deep Wound because their power originally works by hitting multiple people multiple times. But then when they changed Legion, they just made the achievement just down people who have the status effect on them. But I guess that's what the leaderboard is tracking, is how many times you've done that.
The leaderboard, it goes off the achievement. That's why some killers fucking track stats are so dumb. For example, Twins is hits. It's downs while someone has Victor on them.
I don't know if they would ever retroactively add achievements for previous killers, but they should definitely add like both a score event and then also an achievement for like getting chained hits as Legion. Like where you hit someone and then you hit someone again.
They could, now hear me out, they could add stats in the game.
Oh, that'd be so hype. We have a player stats screen now. They could totally do that.
Like,
I think the reason they don't is because everyone's stats would just say 0. Because they haven't been officially tracking it. Well, so like some things would just be 0 while others would have numbers, and I feel like they would be like, this looks weird, so we're not doing it.
I think the other reason they don't want to do it is because they said the reason they hid MMR was because they didn't want people to use it as bragging rights. And they didn't want people to like use it for toxicity reasons. So I feel like and while I appreciate the sentiment, it's still dumb because I hate to tell them. I think people are worse with it because we can't see it. Because literally anyone could be like, I'm high MMR.
That's like probably the most annoying stream tag I've ever seen. Is like high MMR, high MMR survivor or killer gameplay. It's like, dude, you're literally like you're playing like dog shit. Please.
We're not gonna name names, but I know a specific one you're talking about.
Oh yeah, no, I mean there's dozens.
Yeah, but there's one in particular.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, I don't know. Like I said, because like I said, the sentiment of like we don't want people using their rank to like or their MMR to like feel superior to others. Which first off,
it's like belittle people.
Yeah. Which first off, if you didn't want that, you wouldn't have added an MMR system in the first place. Second off, people still do it anyways. The difference is now no one can prove it.
Yeah, you just have people who just bullshit. You know, just like, yo, you're garbage. You play against bad survivors. I'm top MMR. I'm literally 0.001% in Wraith Uncloaks. Like,
yeah,
I don't fucking know.
Wraith Uncloaks.
I turn off my brain whenever I hear people yapping about that. I'm like, okay, dude, good for you.
Well, once again, it's like we talked about it earlier. It's like you can't have both. You
can't have top survivors and then also be like winning every single match.
Yeah,
like it's not possible. Well, like you're literally not.
Well, no, well, yeah, and like the opposite to that too. It's like if I'm like I said, if I'm winning 90% of my matches, and someone comes in and is like, well, you're only winning 90% of your matches because you're low MMR. That's an oxymoron. Both can't be true. You know, if MMR is working.
Yeah, I know. Like we've literally been over this. It's like they're just grabbing random shit just to throw at you. Yeah. They don't even know what they're saying.
Yeah.
I bet if you ask those people what MMR stands for, they would not be able to fucking tell you.
It's matchmaking rating. You know what meta stands for?
Meta?
Mm-hmm. It actually stands
I don't know what I didn't know it even stood for anything.
Yeah, it's most effective tactic available.
Oh, gotcha.
I forgot where I learned that, but yeah, it's most effective tactic available. That's what it stands for. I don't know what like game or whatever like officially coined it and like made it a thing, but yeah, it's interesting. it's like a. Do you know where the term Smurf comes from?
I don't know where it comes from, but I know what it means. Yeah.
Yeah. So it comes from back in StarCraft. I don't remember if it was 1 or 2. There was these 2 guys who would constantly play against each other because they were in like the top rank. And they got bored of it. So they were like, okay, let's make another account so we can play with other people. And they named their accounts Papa Smurf and Smurfette.
That's where the smurfing is just it's just a mockery or like a reference to those 2 player names.
Yeah, that's where a lot of like gaming terms come from. It's just some random ass like ninjaing in Halo.
I didn't even know this for the longest time. You know the streamer Ninja for Fortnite?
Oh fuck!
That's where that comes from.
I lost.
I didn't know that. Yeah, because he was a pro Halo player back in the day. Um, and yeah, he coined the term. I think during I forget which tournament it was, but yeah, he coined the term of it, and then it just became a thing.
Hmm.
There's a call out in Rainbow Six. It's on Chalet, the upper balcony. It's called
Oh, I hate that map.
yeah, but the call out the pros call it this, I call it this. You know, it call outs in that game are weird because it's like some people call things different things. But the most agreed upon, it's called K9. And it's a balcony out in the front of the second floor. The reason it's called K9 is because there was a player named K9 who used to sit out there all the time. The only
My
reason,
God.
yeah, it's the only reason it's called that.
You'd expect it to be called that because like, oh, I hear a dog barking or there's a leash here, so therefore it's canine. No, it's named after
I
some random guy.
I explain callouts in Rainbow Six so much, and people are like, "What?" There's literally like there's a call out on one of the maps called Trash Bag, and it's literally just that. It's a spot in the room where people sit all the time that is just it has two trash bags on it. That's
Well,
it.
that one makes sense.
Yeah, and then there's Harry Potter.
Okay, all right.
Harry Potter is any spot that's under a set of stairs.
Yeah, okay, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of clever.
Yeah, and then there's like it's on Clubhouse. There's like a rafter section, like it's metal stairs that look down. Each of those individual rafters has a call out. It's R1,
What is it?
it's R1, R2, and R3, and then R corner.
Why?
Because you have to know specifically which one they're at when you're peeking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then there's like on God, I haven't played in so long. There's a spot on Consulate called Rat Spot, and it's basically the spot where they're pretty much protected on both sides of the wall, and they can pretty much
So that they're a rat.
yeah, they're a rat.
They're a rat.
That's why it's called that. But everyone knows what it is. It's just yeah, it's crazy. I love that so much. I love that people have gone in there like. There's a spot on this is one of my favorite ones is it's on Border. It's called Africa. And the reason it's called that uh before anyone's brain goes anywhere, it's not for the reason you're probably thinking. It's called that because it's shaped like Africa. That's it. Like the little spot they sit in, it's shaped like Africa. That's why it's called that.
It's shaped like the continent.
Yeah, that's the only reason it's called that. It's like it's both creative, dumb, and makes me sound insane whenever I tell people I remember all this shit. Like,
I mean, I remember all kinds of stupid shit about like DVDs. So I mean,
yeah,
I feel like the more you like something, the more you're able to remember like really little things. I mean, I also have OCD, so it's like
yeah. Well,
I hyper fixate on like literally everything in DVD.
yeah, I was big into Pokemon. It's a big shocker, the guy with a Pokemon name. And a Pokemon PNG. I was big into Pokemon. I can still to this day probably tell you the competitive IVs, EVs, move pools, abilities, and items for like 90% of the Pokemon of the game.
It's crazy that we can remember this stuff, but not the answers for a test in school.
Oh yeah,
It's
I forget my phone number sometimes.
Oh my God. I don't even know like my parents' phone number or my girlfriend's phone number. Like I just have it under my contact info as their names. Like I don't see their number.
Yeah.
The only number I know is mine.
Yeah. Also, a little bit of stepdadly advice because people call me a fucking stepdad for some reason. Anyways, a little bit of
Weird.
Yeah, it's really weird, but whatever. Anyways, a little bit of older wisdom. Write your important contacts down on the sticky note and keep in your wallet in case you get arrested. Because they will take your cell phone first, and you will not have any contacts. So that first phone call you get, yeah, you better remember that phone number. Yeah, because I ran into that once. I got arrested once, and I went to jail, and I couldn't call anybody because I didn't remember anyone's phone number.
Oh my god.
So I had to wait until after I was released to call someone to pick me up.
That's fucking rough. Jesus Christ.
Speaking of going to jail, I don't know if you've ever been to jail, but
No, never.
it is the weirdest experience getting released from jail.
How so?
Because think about this, right? So like I did weekend jail. This is for a DUI years ago. I don't mind talking about it, but so
Mm.
I would go in on Friday. I would get checked in, and they do all the processing. This would take like 8 hours, and then I would go. I would go into where they had me. I was with the workers, so like I had a bed and whatever with like 20 other people. Um, and then we would get released on Sunday morning, and basically they're like, okay, you're good to go, and then like they just open the door, and then they're like, you're free now. It's just like you spent an entire weekend of being stuck in a room with the inability to leave or really do anything, and now they're just like, all right, go, you're good. We don't care what you do for the next 6 days. I don't know how to explain it. It's just a really weird feeling.
So weird.
Yeah, it'd be like I said. It's just imagine someone locked you in your room for like 2 days, and then they come by and they're like, okay, you can leave now. Like that's the equivalent. It's really weird. Um, big question. Do you still have fun with a league? Do you still have fun with Dead by Daylight?
Yeah, every day. I mean, if I didn't, I wouldn't play it.
You say that.
And yeah, like and sometimes like I'm having a rough time
Mhm.
and either I'll just like decide to just end stream or I'll just play a different game. Like there's been times that I haven't felt like playing Dead by Daylight, so I just play The Long Dark instead.
Mhm.
So like I don't think I'm one of those people who have developed like the sunk
Some
cost.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I just like if it's fun, it's fun. If it's not fun, like I stop playing. Like I spent a lot of money on PUBG when that was a thing.
Mhm.
I don't play that fucking game anymore. Like I got bored of it and I moved on with my life. But I probably spent like $200 at least.
Oh, you don't want to know how much money I spent on League.
Oh, it's probably way too much, dude.
um,
I mean, like same thing with DVD. Like
yeah.
I've spent way too much money on this game, but like I'm fine with that because it's entertainment. It's like I don't see it any differently than like, oh, you order food when you're hungry, or
Mhm.
you go to play pool, so you pay money at a pool hall. Like it's the same thing. It's just a different form of entertainment. So
Yeah. And I was joking when you said if I didn't, I wouldn't be playing the game. Listen, like there are some people, a lot of people who they just keep playing even if they're mad at this game.
oh yeah, even some creators like you can tell that they just don't enjoy anything about the game,
Yeah, it's just like
but they still play it because it keeps the lights on or something.
yeah, I did a whole video.
That's just rough.
Yeah, I did a whole video on this, but like I know people shit on him for saying this, but when Matthew said play another game, he wasn't
He's right.
wrong. He's right.
He's literally right.
Just like there are so many, you are pressed for choice. Like there is so many options right now.
If I open my Steam library, I have like 100 games I could choose from right now.
Oh, I can't afford game. Dude, 90% of games now are free to play. Like multiplayer games, anyways. Um, you have options, like you do, and like if DVD, like I don't even say you got to quit the game forever, but like take a break. I took a break. Like I took like a 6. Granted, I was playing VHS at the time, but still, I took a break from DVD, right? And it doesn't mean just stop playing the game. Stop playing the game. Stop watching content. Stop interacting with it for like at minimum 2 weeks. Come back, and I guarantee you'll feel better about the game.
No, 1,000,000%.
Um, it's just yeah, I and it's not just a Dead by Daylight problem; it's an every game problem. But because I know people who've been playing League for like 11 years now, they hate the game, like absolutely hate it, but they still play it. They still play it, and they still give the devs their money. Uh, eh,
This is tragic.
yeah, and that's another thing. I know how many boycotts has DVD had now, like fucking 4.
I remember the one with the whole what was it NFT thing.
Oh,
That's
Pinhead. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, boycotts don't work because for a lot of reasons. But here's the thing, right? If you really don't want to support the game and you want to boycott it personally, that's fine, but actually do it, please. There are
There's a
some,
lot of people who say they'll do it and then they don't.
yeah, like if you're like, I don't want to support this game anymore, and then a new chapter releases and you're like, oh my god, and then like you buy it immediately, you're part of the problem.
Or there's a skin that comes out and they're like, oh, actually,
Yeah, like Skull Merchant's a good example. Like there was a lot of people who were like, don't buy Skull Merchant because it's showing the devs that we like these kinds of characters. First off, it doesn't. Their data is a little bit more skewed than that. But second off, like if you really, 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 really don't like what they did with Skull Merchant, yeah, don't buy her. Don't even unlock her. Like show the devs like seriously that we don't want those kinds of killers. And I'm not talking shit about Skull Merchant. She's just a good example of what actually happened. Um, but yeah, it's like, but don't like DC against them every match. That's not going to accomplish anything. Because I think Behavior said this, when people DC, they actually don't see those stats.
they're not counted as kills.
Yeah, so like they don't get any stats from those games. So like,
They do see the disconnection rate though, because
yeah,
that's one of the reasons why Legion got changed so quickly,
mm-hmm.
way back in the days, because they had a shockingly high disconnection rate,
Mm-hmm.
like literally the highest in the game, and so they prioritized changing Legion, which is partly why their original update was so bad, was because they didn't have like any time to like really think
Mm-hmm.
thoroughly about stuff, so they just tweaked random shit because they didn't know what was actually like really wrong with Legion.
Yeah.
And they didn't even fix Deep Wound until like the Oni update when they made it so it just didn't tick down when running.
Oh my
Because
god.
because Freddy and Wraith could abuse it, right? Because they could put
Yeah.
you into Deep Wound, and then because they were stealth, they didn't have a terror radius, so Deep Wound would just tick down.
You know, that's another weird thing. People are always like they don't like actually change the game or like add things to the game or whatever. Honestly, like because I've only been playing the game for 3 years, but like the game is different. Like the main game isn't, but like the little shit is.
I had someone coming to my chat yesterday who had the last time they played Dead by Daylight was shortly after Blight's release,
Uh huh.
and they were like, so what's changed? And then I was so excited because I got to like share with them everything that's been changed, and I showed them Hillbilly and Legion, and I showed them all the new mechanics that they've added to the base game, like base get borrowed time. um so it was very, very fun to just go over everything with that person. But like they were like, wow, this is like almost like a completely different game, like everything's like so much better and like different. It's like you could never get away telling someone years ago that the game that you're playing right now is going to be completely different. They'd be like, no, it wouldn't change that much, but it totally did. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the thing with it is like honestly, obviously we're content creators, so like we play the game a lot, but like when those incremental little changes, like they add up over time. But the thing is, we see them like as they're added, so it doesn't seem like much until you like start to look back. And I think that's something people forget. It's like borrowed time used to only work in the killer's terror radius.
Yep.
Like, could you imagine if that was still in the game right now?
I
Fucking.
remember the patch where they changed it so that just always works.
Mm-hmm.
And they nerfed his timer a little bit, and people freaked out. They're like, "Oh my god, why could they do this?" But then,
No.
like a few months later, I think they just made a base kit, and then they buffed it, and it's like
Yeah.
nobody even talks about it
Yeah.
because it just feels like a natural part of the game.
Yeah. 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 I mean, it's just like people talk about some perks that need to be base kit. The one I hear all the time is Decisive Strike. Um, uh, but like if they did it, and I'm not saying they should, but if they did, I really do think it would feel like people would complain for like 2 weeks, and then we would get used to it, and then it would just be just part of the game, and it would feel like, why was this never a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, Decisive Strike was probably a bad example, but
No, no. I mean, I've heard that suggestion before, so like,
yeah.
it's not foreign to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I get, I get what you're getting at.
Yeah.
Is there's things that you think should be base kit, and if they were, like, you get used to it pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've always thought Pop Goes the Weasel should be base kit.
I mean, they kind of did make it base kit with the 5% loss per kick.
Yeah,
That feels pretty good.
yeah, but
I've stopped using as many slowdowns as I have because the kicks are actually pretty good now.
yeah, but I mean like after you hook somebody and you kick a gen after a certain amount of time, like
Mhm.
I think like legitimately like not the exact numbers it is, but I think something similar to pop should be base kit. That
Like
way,
it doubles your next kick or something.
yeah, that way one that would encourage hooks. Um, two, it would make it so killers feel less reliant on slowdown, even though people would still bring four. That's a whole other topic. But yeah, like I don't know. Like I've always said corrupt intervention. Like half of corrupt intervention should be base kit, and the perk should double the effect.
Hmm. I don't know about corrupt, but I could realistically see a world where pop is sort of base kit in
Mhm.
some way.
Yeah. Well, my idea with corrupt is just so survivors don't just spawn on gens and start doing them
Yeah. I mean, I feel like they tried that with their
early.
trial warm up
Yeah.
in design because I'm gonna be honest, I find it like so boring when the killer is corrupt
Hmm.
because like I can't do gens. I have to go into their terror radius and then it's like a blight with the best add-ons. It's like, well, like what the fuck?
I've been combining it with Grim Embrace because
Aw, you're a psychopath.
because yeah because the one downside to corrupt is like once you down somebody they go down
It goes away,
it goes
but
away.
with Graham, you circumvent that where it keeps coming back. That's fucked up.
It's great. It's so great. But yeah, last thing, and I think we'll call it from there. But skins. So Legion
Mhm.
are a very popular killer,
Yes.
especially when it comes to their skins. Um, I know it might be hard to choose, but is there any particular? Because I know I don't want to be like the guy who's like, "What's your favorite Joey skin?" Like I don't want to. What if you had to pick one? What is your favorite skin overall for Legion? If you
The
had
Fairview jacket for Frank. Just the jacket.
just
I
the
like the
jacket.
base mask, the
Mm.
base knife, but the red and white jacket.
Mm.
That's I mean that's like what I use in like every video.
Yeah.
But that's my favorite skin. I
Mhm.
like it when Legion just looks like tough guy in a jacket, basically, because that's inherently what they are.
Yeah. Uh, is there any skins you hate?
Like half the Julie ones or Susie ones. I mean, she's like the kawaii Fang e girl of the Legion. It's so annoying
I
because every
run
time they release a skin, they just make it a fucking Susie skin, and I want to break my monitor, dude.
I run the cat hoodie because I love it. Um,
Okay, that one's valid though. Same with the spaghetti strainer one that they released, the Dom Rebel one.
yeah, and I
That
think
one looks pretty good.
yeah, and I think Legion's a weird or not weird in this case, but I think they're one of the killers where like because they have so many options, there's like I've noticed like personalization with like reasonings for like why people like certain knives on them.
Mhm.
And you don't really see that too much on the other killers. Uh,
No, no, you don't.
and I'll tell you mine after you tell me yours. But what your favorite knife's what the crystal one, right?
Honestly, it's just the default knife. Default knife.
Mm,
Um, and then yeah, the Vandal, the
yeah.
shattered like green
Is
and glass one
is that in the
from Never Stop
store?
Slashing.
By the way, I know it was a battle pass or a rift one. Is it in the
Yep. No,
store?
it's in the store. You can only
Okay.
get it with shards though because it was a community skin.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because like I don't really want it. I just it's one of those things where I was like, man, I can never get this now, which I'm cool with. I really do think we actually need more. I would get so much shit for saying this. I don't think FOMO is inherently bad if it's done correctly.
The FOMO that they've been doing with their events, I think, is pretty bad.
Yes, but like
Where
things,
they'll put skins and then like lock them away.
yeah,
But stuff in like battle passes like that, that's with every game. I think that's fine.
I think like little things like the deep rift stuff, like technically that's FOMO. You can never get that stuff again.
Also, the charms.
Yeah.
Charms are exclusive to Rift. Charms, emblems, calling cards,
Hmm.
all
Yeah.
that stuff is exclusive to Rifts.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I'm even cool with like Overwatch did the pink mercy for the breast cancer awareness thing. I think
Oh,
that
that's nice.
yeah, I think that kind of FOMO is fine. You can never get that skin again. And all it is, it's really legitimately it's a little different, but it's basically just Mercy, but she's pink.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. I think like I don't know. Like I said, I think FOMO, like even like Destiny. I've talked about this before. They do this thing called there was a thing a few months ago called the crafting, where basically they have craftable weapons, and the system kind of broke over the weekend, and people were able to make like grenade launcher assault rifles and like
What?
yeah, and like do this. Just look up a video of the crafting. It's fucking amazing. Anyways, it was like this for like a whole weekend. Because they couldn't fix it because everyone was off, and they couldn't figure out exactly why it was happening. So they just left it in. They didn't kill switch the game or anything. Everyone was having a good time with it though, for the most part. But what they did after it was over is anyone who was playing during it got an emblem.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. This is like a little emblem for like a little community event that happened. Like it wasn't like a sanctioned event or anything. They did a similar thing. When Destiny 2 first launched, there was a weekend where a gun called Prometheus Lens, which is like it's like a laser rifle, was available for everybody, and everyone was using it like the whole weekend during like ranked mode. So the community called it Laser Tag Weekend, um, and the devs heard about it, so they were like, "Fuck it! Anyone who was playing during that weekend, here's a cool little laser tag emblem." It's
Hmm.
like you can never get these things again. It's FOMO, technically speaking, but like stuff like that, I think is fine. Because it's like you were there, you know. I don't know. Like I said, I think there's a good way to do FOMO and a bad way, and I think behavior is kind of riding the line of doing it the bad way.
Yeah, they could definitely improve again with their events. They're doing
Mhm.
exclusive skins and then removing them, and it's like that's not cool. But like charms and emblems, like I don't think anyone really gives a shit.
I think like if it wasn't all bought and it was earned, I don't think it would be like the night skin that came out for Halloween. No one plays night, so it doesn't matter. But the night skin that came out for Halloween, like that's FOMO. But the only way to get it was you had to do every single archive. It was free. So like if you didn't get it, like
If you didn't get it, it's because either you didn't play or you just didn't do the challenges to get it. So
yeah, and
I feel like that makes sense. Like the people were rewarded for actually
yeah,
playing the event
yeah,
and then getting the skin.
yeah. I think
Um,
FOMO for like spending money is where the issue comes in. Speaking of
yeah,
my
where you're unable to buy stuff
yeah.
because you don't have the money, and so you have to wait a whole year for it to come back, and then you
Hmm.
can get it with shards. That's rough.
Yeah,
That sucks.
my favorite knife on Legion, by the way, it's the it's the doll one.
Oh, that fucking oh
I
my
love
god.
it. I love it so much. It's either that or
I wouldn't hate that skin if it didn't have the arm with
the
the pom
pom
pom.
pom. I love
That
it.
ruins it for me.
I love it
I
because so many people come into stream when I'm playing Legion sometimes, and they're like, "What the fuck is that knife?"
no, like actually, I don't know what they were cooking with that.
I love it. I love that whole skin. I don't know. I'm a weirdo. It's just so
You
different.
are. I think that skin's ugly.
That's
Oh my
why I love
god.
it. It's like a pug. It's great. Um, that or the karambit, because I a lot of people know this. I was in the military for a long time. Not a long time, it was 4 years, but I did CQC training and I learned how to use a karambit for about a year and a half.
Oh, so you can do knife tricks and shit?
I can
Oh
do
my god. Sick.
it. Yeah, if I didn't sound edgy enough. The difference is I got paid to be edgy in the military. Um,
Based.
uh, God, I remember during CQC training, we did one of the things we had to do was we were training how to like do home invasions. And by the way, CQC training, for those who don't know, it's close quarters combat training. That's what it stands for.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until I started thinking about CQ close quarter. Ah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it took me a minute.
So one of our assignments one day was we had to bring in a weapon from home, like something like just lying around the house we could use as a weapon. I brought in the I brought in the top of a toilet. It was so fucking funny because I got the rest of the day. He was like, "All right, fine. If you want to use that, here's a mannequin." So I spent like an hour beating the shit out of a mannequin with a toilet top. It was so fucking stupid.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
oh man. The stories I have, man, the fucking I miss the army. Like random, I can never do like as a civilian, like random shit like that doesn't happen anymore to me.
Nah, you can't run into a closed shop and beat the shit out of a mannequin, unfortunately.
They get paid to do it. Oh man. Mm-mm-mm. All right, Tat. Well, um, I think we're gonna call it there. We've been going for 3.5 hours with the
A while.
with the couple
A
breaks.
while.
We talked about Legion quite a bit though, and the state of the game overall. The whole point of this, and I try to make this clear to people. It's not to just like talk about only the killer. That's like the main focal point, obviously, and like where most of the topics stem from. But it's to talk about the game, just kind of chat with other creators and get opinions on certain things within the game and the community as a whole.
Oh yeah,
Um,
for sure.
yeah, it's just nice. Um, I mean, I just released one with Kaiser the other day that was I dated this, but whatever. Um,
Kaiser's great.
yeah, I released one with Kaiser the other day. He told me he calls you his favorite degenerate, and I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, he does the same with me. He calls me a degenerate. It's fucking awesome.
um, and
Giga based.
they weren't. I didn't bring them on because they made a killer. I just brought them on because they're a content creator. And I made an excuse to add them to the podcast. So it's this whole it's more just a focal point of talk. Regardless, though, I do appreciate you coming on, and it always blows my mind when a lot of you guys say yes. It really does.
No,
Um,
it's fun.
yeah, and I know we had to reschedule a couple times, but it's I'm glad we could get it done.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was a good time. I mean, there was some communication issues with like scheduling,
Yeah,
but I mean,
yeah,
we made it work. So
yeah. Fuck time zones. Anyways, uh,
happens.
um, but yeah, I'll let you go. Before you do, if you could tell people where they can find you real quick.
YouTube.com/C/Deteriu and Twitch.tv/Deteriu.
And all that will be below. You guys should follow Tat. He's great. I watch his videos like at least 2 a day.